Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. Find out nothing sweet about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. Find out nothing sweet about it.
Look, mile like 3-6 pulled up, ski trip, cold winter. All my eating good, I remember when we had no dinner. West side, east side, no side, both sides with me. Check, come and check, leaving flex season 12, come and get me. Gil, the run around, high speed, chasing all the big bags. Bending corners, bending rules, bending necks, Gil, the whiplash. Slide through hot knife, warm butter storm, gutter drain lane. Young man, old habit, still at it, tryna let my chain hang. True story, new story, 2-story condo, B&B. 4 bath, 1 me, no key, like I did a B&E. B&Me so good, so hood, so not worried about it. 250,000 new views, old news, know you probably heard about it. Extra, extra, read about it. Headline, word around town, flexing. Ballin' on my court, so I ain't worried about nobody out of bounds, stressing. Feeling like Hercules, murder these ain't a problem to me. Tried to tell the maid service don't come unless you bringin' condoms to me.
Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. Find out nothing sweet about it. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping.
All right. All right. It's Friday. It is Friday. Welcome everybody to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. We appreciate you on this Friday, March 10th, 2023. Thank y'all for tuning in today. We got an excellent topic for you. Um, yeah, it's a great day, man. It's a really good day. Hope everybody enjoyed their commute to work this morning. Also, I hope everyone is getting off early today. If you getting off early and you want to show some love, show me some love in the chat. Let me know what you're doing today. I appreciate the love and everything we got going on. Everything you got planned for the weekend. Hopefully you got that squared away. All right. You getting off early to participate today. All right. So thank y'all again for coming into the Trigger Mike show. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Right now, hit that like button. Make sure you do that. I appreciate your support. Hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already. Please subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and yeah, like, subscribe, and join the channel if you are already subscribed for the channel perks. I appreciate that. All right, so do all of that. What's going on, leadership? Good morning to you. All right, let's get into it. All right, so today is Friday. It's a good payday, so we're always looking for people to support the show if they can. And I want you to know there are a few ways because someone sent me a message saying, how do I support the show? I think this is one of my Nigerian cousins. So we got a fan base out there. I did not know it. But what I need from you today, if you can support the show, a lot of the messages didn't go out for this particular show. So I need you to share this show out to your Instagram news feed. Okay, share this on your Instagram news feed, your Facebook news feed, Instagram chat, your WhatsApp chat, your group me chat, and let people know we're talking about the power of Pookie today. If we want to get to the bottom of what these Pookies and Ray Rays are doing, today we're doing that on this show. If this is a topic that you feel like a lot of people need to be in on, please share this out to people and let them know. Another way to support the show is via super chat. So someone asked me, like, how do I support the show? You can support this show via super chat or super thanks. There should be a little icon that has a little dollar symbol around it or a dollar with the square anywhere within the thing. Bottom left corner, if you're on a computer, look around the chat area, or if you're on your phone, just scroll across the icons and you will find something that says a monetary logo, or you can purchase, it'll say thanks. And you can tap on that thanks and purchase a super thanks or send a super chat. So those are the two ways you can support the show. And you can even send a super thanks if you like what you heard on the show after the live broadcast. So if you'd like to support the show, you like some of the things you hear, you want to support some of the people. You want to support because you like something the panelists said, support the show, support the network by dropping a super chat or a super thanks after the live broadcast is over. I appreciate that. We got people trickling in. So we got leadership here this morning and marriage, politics, and sports. Mr. Rich, how you doing this morning? Thank you for tuning in. All right. So we're going to get this link. This is going to be a short monologue today. So, JR, if you would, please drop that link and pin it to the top of the chat. When you come up on this panel today, please cam up if you can. It is always a better panel when we can see your face. We love to see all the lovely faces here on the Trigger Mike Show. So I thank you for your cooperation with that. All right. So today's topic is my man Black, built like a conquering king in the building. What's going on? Thank you for coming through. Christina Colton, how you doing? I think it's going to be a good one, but let me forewarn you. Let me forewarn y'all on this topic. I'm not going to go, I only have one hypothesis about Pookies. All right. We're going to lay out the context. We're going to lay out the context of the type of person we're talking about. And after we do that, then we're going to discuss. I want to hear what the panel got to say. This is not the discussion that one man should be having about how I feel about Pookie and Ray Ray, okay? It's not the discussion one man should be having. Everybody that's affected by this, that has participated in that type of behavior before. Pookie is not a person. Pookie is a lifestyle. Oh, snap. I got to copyright that. I got to copyright that. Pookie is not a person. Pookie is a lifestyle. Okay. So everybody at some level or some degree has been a Pookie or a Pookisha. If you are participating in this modern secular consumerism, superficial driven society, you have been a Pookie or a Pookisha in lifestyle at some point. Pookie is not a person. Pookie is a lifestyle. All right. So today's topic is the power of Pookie. Okay. So let me define what Pookie means in the context of today's show and how we're going to use it to guide the entire conversation going forward. All right. So Pookie actually has many meanings. When I was looking up the meaning, I always like the Urban Dictionary's definitions of such terms. You're very scholarly, even though it's called the Urban Dictionary. It's very scholarly. They break it down, so it's definitely a scholar putting those definitions together. So it actually has many meanings, though. In my studies, I found Pookie is actually a term of endearment. Remember that before we washed it over with the meaning that it has today. It was an actual term. Oh, that's my Pookie right there. That's my baby right there. So it could be used as a term of endearment and previously was used as a term of endearment before we hijacked it and gave it over to Pookie and Ray Ray. But in the YouTube streets, okay, we usually refer to certain maladjusted men as Pookie and Ray Ray. And that is the context that we're using today, just to make sure we establish that basis here and now and make it clear. So I'm going to give you the definition that the Urban Dictionary has provided for Pookie and Ray Ray. What is a Pookie and a Ray Ray? A generalized, broad term that describes societal nonconformists, usually ex-convicts, jobless, unfaithful ghetto dregs, incapable of social graces, commitment, or gainful employment, the absentee father, baby daddy of unwed mothers, the inmate population, the drug dealers, and hustlers on the streets are examples of Pookies and Ray Rays. Now, yeah, not all of those things apply to every single Pookie, but some of those things apply to every single Pookie. All right. Usually in the realm of fatherhood, you will get an established Pookie. Usually in the realm of job choice, you will get a Pookie. So those are the things that we can discuss here today. One of the points that I want to make on this, all right, one of the points I want to make on this particular thing is that Pookie is actually a very interesting character in the black community. He's very interesting. I'm not being facetious. I'm not playing around. Pookie is a very interesting character with all he has been able to accomplish in this community. He may actually be unlike any other male figure in the world. I'm not playing around. When you really do a deep dive and understand history and go around different cultures and ethnic groups, Pookie in the black community may be like any other male figure in the world. What do I mean by that? Despite being an individual that is more commonly associated with the degeneracy of the black community, he is more popular than a black scholar and is usually portrayed as the most desirable black male in mainstream media, meaning TV, movies, music videos, etc. What do y'all think about that? I don't think that happens in any other ethnic group. Please, I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. This is a show where y'all can participate. Understand, my show is a show where I want your feedback. This is not an echo chamber, or at least I don't want it to be. Okay, so let me know. I'm going to repeat what I said. Despite being an individual that is more commonly associated with the degeneracy of blacks, He is more popular than the black politicians, the black scholars, all right? And he's portrayed in mainstream media as the most desirable black male often. TV, movies, music videos. Pookie is present. Pookie is the one they want. Pookie is the object of desire. Pookie is the one they're projecting out to the masses as the dude they want, piping them down at night. Interesting. I'm not sure if that happens in any other community, any other ethnic group, but y'all let me know. Now, we'll get more on that later. I have some other hypotheses I'd like to share with y'all. So let's play a game, chat. Let's play a game. This is called Pookie's Professions. I want to play a game with y'all right now. What are Pookie's favorite jobs? Because I didn't want to speculate. I put some in there, but I don't want to be judgmental. You know, people get touchy-feely about African descendants and people talking about these topics. So I want y'all to tell me, what jobs are Pookie most likely to have and most likely to entertain? I know what y'all are going to say. I'm going to wait. I'm going to read these in the chat. These are going to be good. I'm also going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat. Y'all can come up and converse with your boy. All right. Right now, we are guessing. What are Pookie's professions? What job is a Pookie most likely to have? Ladies, if you just met a guy, I think it's pretty, it's pretty prejudiced to just think he's a Pookie because of the way he dresses. But usually, let's say, y'all are walking and getting to know each other and you're just sitting down. So what do? What job will make you lean on the side of this dude is a Pookie? Let me know. I'm gonna read these aloud. Let's see. What do y'all think? The first one, drug dealer. You know what used to be funny is that even when you say that, you think it's something that a man would want to hide, but unfortunately, in this community, a lot of women are turned on by that. And the funny thing is that some dudes will just try to use it as a play on words and say, "So what do you do? Pharmaceuticals?" And they'll laugh and giggle. I don't know. It's terrible. Rapper. Oh man. Oh man. I mean, this one is big. All right, let me tell y'all something. There are a lot of misconceptions about Pookie and who people think he is. There are a lot of misconceptions about Pookie and who people think he is, because I've known a lot of Pookies. Pookie is not a money thing. It's not necessarily about money. Pookie can have a lot of money. Remember, Pookie is not a person. It's a lifestyle. It's a behavior. You can practice the ways of Pookie. Okay? You can learn the art of Wu-Tang from Pookie. Okay? So Pookie is not a behavior. He's a lifestyle. And let me tell you, I've seen many men that I thought were good, upstanding guys with good behavior turn into Pookie because of this right here, what Leadership 22 said. The moment they got the ability to do something illegal and start scamming, they compromised all their morals and turned into a Pookie. If you believe what I just said or know somebody that did the same, put a 1 in the chat. I know hella guys I went to college with that just dropped out and started doing illegal stuff, start scamming the hell out of all this stuff, out of all these people and doing all that, and compromise all their morals to practice the lifestyle of Pookie. A damn shame. Scammers, I think, are number one. Now, scamming is number one. Valet driver, Nicole M. Come on. Pookie don't got no license. I'm joking. Pookie license, like, Pookies are Their license be suspended. I'm sorry. Pookie license be suspended. My man Alex P. Keaton says unemployed rapper. Crinkle? I don't know what that means. Please explain, Ben. Trainers. Ooh. So one thing that we like to do on the Trigger Mike shows is we like to make things make sense. I don't like my brother has a degree in exercise science. So I don't want to say all, then he went on to get one in health science, health administration, all that. And he's doing his thing with the government in health and like health programs for schools. He was doing that for a long time, working for the government and like what you eat for school lunch, all that. So some people can take those degrees and do those jobs, but he was also a personal trainer. He was in great shape. So I don't want to say all Pookies are personal trainers for my brothers watching and be like, hey, and tries to defend that. Doesn't do it anymore, but he did. But we like to make things make sense on the Trigger Mike show. The reason I think a lot of Pookies are trainers is because they were getting buff as shit on the prison yard. A lot of the ones that went to prison, that's all they had to do. That was the highlight of their day. I've been told this. So one of the jobs they could get when they got out was just going to the gym. That dude that comes and just does sit-ups next to you and trying to talk to you. Hey, I can. Those dudes, not saying all of them are Pookie, but a lot of trainers are Pookie. It just makes sense, doesn't it? They jump straight from the prison yard into 24-hour fitness. I'm lying like shit. They going to Planet Fitness. All right, but they really be in Planet Fitness. Y'all know it. Bathshua says rapper. My man Alex P. Keaton might be hitting. Okay, all right. I don't know. This might be the number one. Even if they're a trainer, they usually say I'm an entrepreneur of nothing. Or I'm a CEO of nothing. That is Pookie behavior right there. Professional pipe layer. That's funny. I think I've heard somebody say that directly to a woman before. My man Mr. Rich says, want to be a pimp or a gangbanger? Well, yep, that's true. There is no specific profession. There are a group of professions. In fact, let me tell you what I thought about this. Really quick. Pookies are in the entertainment industry more than any other industry. Pookies are in the entertainment industry. Music, club promoting, nightclubs. If you agree with that, put a 1 in the chat. I could be wrong, but the entertainment industry is Pookie's favorite industry. Not even drugs. The entertainment industry, even if they were drug dealers, they always translate that somehow. They translate that into club promotion or anything dealing with that. Says scamming again. Crypto. Unemployment recipients. Damn. Definitely valet drivers. All right, y'all gonna have to come up and explain that. That's funny as hell. Yep, party promoter. They are the entertainment. Waste management. Damn. Waste management? Sports. He said John Morant. John Morant is a fake Pookie. Look at the way this dude grew up. He ain't no Pookie for real. He practicing Pookie behavior. He's trying to practice the lifestyle of Pookie. He is not a Pookie. Y'all need to stop it. All right, let me continue with this monologue so I can bring my man, Mr. Rich, up. Again, I'm going to drop the link again in the chat. Y'all come up and talk with your boy so we can iron some things out about the power of Pookie in today's topic. All right, so I have a hypothesis about Pookie because I was listening to something. I don't know if it was Lucky's show, and Tommy Sotomayor came on there. And Lucky, I haven't been on a panel with you yet, but we both do things on this network. So shout out to you. That was a great interview, great show. I caught that. All right, because I'm a huge Tommy Sotomayor fan. All right, so I'm even a bit jealous. Damn, that was dope. But one of the things they were talking about is, I think Lucky said that Pookies have great game. They have a lot of game with them, and I don't agree. I don't really agree. I don't believe they're always more suave or more, or they have game In fact, a lot of the Pookies are whack, if you ask me, because they're saying the same thing. They have no depth to what they're saying, which is hella whack. They can't. These are the men that most women are complaining don't have any social skills. The men, I believe, have the most game are the ones that can carry on a conversation past what you doing, past WID. Okay, so I don't believe that all Pookies have this great game that people talk about. They don't always have game. I believe Pookies are desirable by women for two reasons. They actually fit the archetype of women in two different ways, and we can discuss this on the panel. They are either a man that a woman wants for superficial reasons, like sex, and they don't believe they'll take him serious ever at any point. Just an F boy, right? He's just an F boy. He's a woman's favorite F boy. So that's reason number one. Number two, and let me know what y'all think about this hypothesis. I think that Pookie is a version of a man a woman think is weak enough to change for them. He's easily controlled. My man, Truth Advocate, took the words right out of my mouth. He's a weak enough man that they feel like they can influence him and turn him into whoever they want to be. Pookie ain't got no game for real. He can't hold a conversation. That nigga is stupid most of the time. Somewhere there is a fuse short. That's my experience with him anyway. It's the women and how they view him that give him license to believe he's more than he is. So remember, the two things I believe women want from Pookie, either he is a man they want for sex, he's just an F-boy, or they look at him as weak enough that they can influence him and they can make him change for them. Let me bring up Mr. Rich and Auntie J. Auntie J, you look like you got something to say this morning. How you doing? You on mute.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's so strange because about 20 years ago, we were sitting in the back of my mom's parking lot, alley. I was over at my girlfriend's house. We was outside. And I gave this boy the nickname that I known since he was a baby. I called him Pookie Ray Ray. I called him Pookie Ray Ray.
Did
So
he grow
for me
up to
to
be a
do
Pookie
it
Ray
on
Ray?
this internet is weird. And what my rendition of Pookie was, Pookie don't really sell no drugs. He know where to get them from, though. Pookie directs everybody where to go if you looking for whatever. Pookie real hustle. Pookie sell different stuff, T-shirts, socks, DVDs, and microwaves. And that's why I gave him, yes, that's why I gave him that name. Here now today, Pookie got a place to live with a girl. He had a baby with her. Pookie's out here winning. And in the neighborhood, the Weathersfield neighborhood I live in now, there's still Pookie Ray Ray. And he still does the same thing. Listen.
All right, Mr. Rich, good afternoon to you.
Hey, good afternoon. Hey, listen, I have a couple of thoughts. First of all, I like what you said about the Pookies and Ray Rays. I just want to make a little adjustment. The people say they're easy to control. The best analogy, I know I have a better one, but they're actually Venus flytraps. All they want to do is bust out the chicks. So it doesn't matter whether the woman thinks she could control him or change him and all that horse shit. As long as he's getting the butt, as long as he's busting those cheeks, he'll let her believe that she's in control. And let me tell you why I know this. Because at the end, when the women try this crap about changing them, it never works.
Oh yeah.
If he was that weak, he would be trying to put an effort into changing. He just leaves them on. He sucks them into the Venus flytrap, and then he closes it, and he busts them down. And let me tell you, when you bust down a woman more than once, you kind of own it.
Yeah.
Right? And so the fact is, he'll put them in rotation. She'll feed them, buy them some new sneakers, maybe, and all that kind of good shit. And then he goes on to the next one. He has the physical attributes.
Yes, that's
so,
the truth.
Mr. Rich, not only are you speaking so much truth, do you notice how I stacked those two things on top of each other? So you kind of just went down the order of the way things happen. I believe women understand. This is why they try to leave. I think this has major implications across the board. So women try to leave their family out because they know they want to approve of this guy, right? Which they know that's not supposed to be messing with him. So they know better. So they're just trying to take him on for superficial reasons. But just like you said, a dude who busts a woman down good enough for long enough is going to have control of her mind. So now she's like, well, maybe I can change him into somebody I could present to the family. And that's when they fall into that trap. So I agree.
Never works. Anyway, so I mean, I have more, but let's move around.
Callie Bev look like she about to blow this whole panel up. What you got on it?
Nothing. I'm gonna actually more so agree with Mr. Payne, which is becoming more and more common these days, I will admit. Whatchamacallit, that's why I said Pookie does not have a specific profession. It's a behavior. A man with money can do the same thing that a broke dude can do.
I said that in the monologue.
Yeah, but why you keep talking? Okay, let's go ahead and move around.
I was like, Pookie is not a person; it's a lifestyle. Anybody can practice it. I guarantee you, every man on this panel, it depends on how long we dip, how many toes we dipped in it, but we dipped a few toes in the.
Mike, let me just interject one more thing based on this point that Callie Bev just talked about. If you look at a bell curve, there, and I sent you the super chat on that one. There is one area where the Pookies and the Ray Rays have a whole lot in common with the top 10% men.
Yep.
Right? They're just on the opposite ends of the bell curve. Right? So, but they're doing the same things to the women. They're passing through all the women on both ends. The Pookies and Ray Rays have maybe the lesser women, the big majestic creature women and all that kind of stuff. And then the top 10% guys got the IG models, but they're using them the same way. Right? And so and then there's some women in the middle that try to gravitate to the top guys because all they want to do is get pregnant with a guy who has some money. But they're in the middle. So, and there's some good women in there who can resist the temptation of either pole. And so that's the dynamic of the black woman right now, right? But the Pookies and Ray Rays on the low end and the top 10% men on the high end, they're just running through all the sisters. And when they finish with them, all the good guys have to deal with all that bullshit.
All of that trauma, as they like.
I believe you guys call it. I believe you guys regurgitate KS and say that they're exercising their options.
No. I didn't say that. I did not use that.
No, I'm not saying that you said that. I'm saying that's how I'm interpreting it.
I don't think that's the proper context.
I'm gonna shut up here. I think that doesn't help the community from the standpoint, whatever the community's left. I'm not saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what's going on. That's what's going on. But that's it.
He's so hopeful says, I'm a Pookie right up until the point I pull out. You know what? I don't know if the cable guy is a Pookie because I don't get. I got a lot of
the
white
cable guy's a Pookie, man.
In fact, there's a lot
of. He's got a solid job.
There's a lot of cable women now for some reason. I don't know, but I got a Hispanic guy, I got a white guy, and then a black woman that showed up once as the cable guy. It blew me. I was like, what? But do you know it's the HVAC guy that's the Pookie? I don't think it's the cable guy. It's the HVAC guy that's the Pookie. That's a Pookie job. All right, who is next? King Spark,
King
my
Spark.
man. What's going on?
What up? What up, Mike? Can I get a clarification? What's the just the base definition of a pookie that you're saying?
Let's get it. Let's get it. A generalized, broad term that describes societal nonconformists, usually ex-convicts, jobless, unfaithful ghetto dregs, incapable of social graces, commitment, or gainful employment. The absentee father, baby daddy of unwed mothers, the inmate population, the drug dealers and hustlers on the streets are examples of Pookies and Ray Rays. So it doesn't have to be all of those things. It could even be one of those things in extreme intense form, right? But that's the example of Pookie and Ray Ray. Usually I think we associate it more with fatherhood and profession, right? So those two things usually is how I think as people kind of decide if somebody's a Pookie or Ray Ray or not.
Well, let's have the conversation because by definition, I'm motherfucking pookie. What y'all just ran down to me. I'm pookie in the flesh,
Well,
live in
remember,
color.
Pookie is not a person, it's a lifestyle.
It's a
Are you
lifestyle.
still
Well,
living the lifestyle?
I would say that nah, I wouldn't say I'm not living a lifestyle, not active. But
Sure, you're not on the top
sometimes
10% side.
nah, because I'm gonna tell you like this, right? My little story, I'm trying to be real quick with it, is that my trajectory wasn't set to be Pookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I made a mistake early in my life, I kind of was relegated into that class because when you step out at 19, you can't get no job because you a felon, right? And that pretty much just shuts you down, right? I had a stack of resentment letters that was sent to my home. I ace panel interviews. They run my background check and they say, "Brother, don't come down here. The key that we gave you won't work to access the building, and it's nice meeting you." So from that point, you kind of had to link up with the Pookies if you had any chance at making it in any way, shape, or form. And that's what I had to do. And I had some bad habits from having to link up with Pookie, but at the same time, I wouldn't change it for the world because I have a awesome perspective on life, and I wouldn't be the man that I am today, successful and legit business owner. If I didn't have that Pookie stage, it was almost a necessity. That's all I got.
All right, bet. We got opening thoughts out the way. All right. So for those of you, let me get these super chats read. The Most High, $5. Appreciate that super sticker. Mr. Rich, for the love of the game, appreciate that. Mr. Rich again, $10. What do the Pookies and Ray Rays have in common with the top 10% of men when it comes to women? Watch the show to find out. Yep, he explained it. I'm interested in I'm actually interested in hearing more about that. That makes a lot of sense, which is why I said there is no other ethnic group has this kind of thing going on that I can identify. They literally discard anybody associated with the degeneracy unless that person themselves does enough to create enough value in their life to prop themselves up to the higher, more valuable people. But a person with status cannot be caught associating with a Pookie or Ray Ray. Like, it's weird. They dispel that out openly, but in our community, they've made it to where sometimes in media, the most desirable person is the person with that behavior. It's weird to me. So weird. But all right, let's get the first question going. Thank you for your support to all of those tuning in. Please make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Let me see how many. Oh, we got 39 likes. Get those up right now. Get those likes up right now. We got 104 people watching. I need those likes up right now. Hit that like button. I need to watch that go up before we get this next question going. For everybody watching, we appreciate it. If you want to support the show, you can do so via super chat or super sticker during the live broadcast. And we appreciate that. Super chats are welcome as answers to questions. So the first thing I want to know, and I want the chat to engage with this as well. Give an example of the worst Pookie behavior you've ever seen from the discussion we're talking about. Mr. Rich, we'll start with you. You're on.
Yeah. Well, I got it. Let me actually, I really haven't really thought about the worst Pookie behavior because I wouldn't concentrate on the Pookies or the Ray Rays. I mean, I was just doing my own thing when I was a single guy. But I always knew that there was guys down in the hood that had nothing else going for them. I'm not even saying they were bad guys. They just had a way with women. There's always guys who have a way with a woman. Bruiser said something, and it went over everybody's head on one of the Lapeef shows. He says, all the women are talking crap, but he says, listen, every single woman has a guy who could just talk the panties off of her. Every single one. Right. And I agree with him. And then, people glossed over it and said all that kind of stuff. And when a woman wants to when it gets down, the guys who are looking the right way and saying the right things, they're getting laid. It's just as simple as that. One of the things you learn when you're going through the process is that sometimes when you don't say shit is the best thing for you. I mean, I've talked myself out of getting laid a couple of times by saying the wrong thing at the wrong time because I was stupid. Just shut up and let it happen. So the Pookies, the Pookies that I know about, like you have the definition, they're the gangbangers, but not just a regular gangbanger with the colors on. He's the leader of the gang, right? Or he's some kind of shifty dealer. But we have enough evidence on this fishbowl we call the YouTube, where women are actually saying, you ask them a question, what would you rather have, a 9-to-5 guy or a hustler? And you see all of these ratchet chicks talking that they'd rather have a hustler, right? But now, of course, we don't know who the mic is being put in front of, right? They're not the higher class women or the middle class working women from coming out of a corporate headquarters. So, I mean, it's just all over the place. So when I look at it, and I'm going to shut up after this, the worst behavior, if we're talking about how they behave with women, that's one thing. How they behave in society, that's another thing. And just like you said, Mike, we just don't want to paint these guys as criminals. When we talk about Pookies and Ray Rays, we're talking about the guy who has 7 kids by 7 women. Yep. So I don't care how much he does, his mentality makes him a Pookie. Right? Because a regular guy on his purpose ain't just spreading seed willy-nilly like that. Right? So even if he says he makes money, he says he has all these things, but his mentality is not something that is conducive to being a legit guy. I mean, we could have a beer, we could hang out, but I don't like the way he looks at women, right? But I'm not gonna kick his ass because the women have to still say yes, right? So I can get along with that guy, but I don't like the methodology, and I don't want the angry man kicking my ass because I'm not gonna really judge this guy. I saw an angry man; he hates people talking about that guy. Especially men. I'm not talking against them because I'm not going to be that kind of guy. If you can get laid the best way you can and the women are giving it to you, more power to you. But that guy's a Pookie. That guy's a Ray Ray.
He is a Pookie.
He ain't no high value man. I don't care how much money he makes.
All right, bet. Callie Bev, give an example of the worst Pookie behavior you've ever seen.
A former friend of mine, well, I won't say mine, ours, because he was my husband's friend first. Got with this. He was a monkey brancher. He go from one chick to the other, and it was basically how he, secured his housing. Even to the point where, he saw everybody around us getting married. He decided to get married, she ended up divorcing him because he was, he was a liar to keep it short. They had a kid and everything like that. It was a pretty ass wedding too. But, whatchamacallit, yeah. And come to find out, he was the new wife. He was cheating on her too, or whatever, to the point where the wife's husband contacted, my husband, and in some of their circle or whatever, and was trying to ask questions and everything like that, and that pretty much ended the friendship, after that. But yeah, that was the worst. He would marry his landlords.
Oh, snap. That particular story, I think I've heard on numerous occasions. King Spark, give an example of the worst Pookie behavior you've ever seen.
If we're counting that dude with the 7 baby mamas and just the way he was talking, that's got to be the worst I've ever. I mean, that shit sounded horrible. I will also say that I think Pookie though is also a phase, or it can be a phase.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, sometimes you gotta Pookie it up to get to where you're going. And I also will say this too, which is very ironic, but when I first came home and I was at my mother's house, you know what I mean? The amount of women that I had access to when I didn't have shit was crazy. It's crazy. And now that I'm where I am doing what I'm doing now, it's like they not as interested. Because I think there's an element about when you in the Pookie phase is the woman has a little bit of control. Right? So they kind of accept the Pookie's in because it's a man that they can control. Because he's trying to get through to get to where he needs to be. Let's just say you come home, you ain't got no car, you trying to get around to get a job for yourself. You gonna have to Pookie it up a little bit, and them women gonna embrace that shit because they know they got that damn Nissan hanging over your head. Just so. I'm just saying.
I had a story. I mean, prior to this week, I had a story. But that 7 baby mamas guy, as he keeps going on this roll,
it takes a case.
He's the worst case I've ever seen. And I don't even. The more he talks, that's why I'm like, dude, just kind of be quiet. We get it. You don't want to be accountable at this point. Shut the hell up. Because there's one thing. Because remember, I actually want to turn a lot of the attention. Because dudes should not be having these situations that involve children. You should not be standing in front of the congregation by yourself. That is what I don't like. I don't tolerate that, and I don't want to see it. Because in my culture, if you see some degeneracy to that point, to where a dude come out his mouth and say, I got 7 baby mamas I don't want, bring them 7 baby mamas here, and y'all all getting whipped. You ain't all of that.
Let me add something to what you're saying, though. I really don't. I still put more of the onus on the women than him. I really do, because you can't have it both ways, right? So, and he's only really responsible for one of them. I agree with my man from Lapeef. I forgot his name. He says only one guy. He only had one DNA test. The chances are 30 to 50% of those other babies are not his. Because he don't have no DNA test. Those chicks weren't just waiting for him. He was in their rotation. So he don't know if those kids are his or not. He's just talking. He's getting his 15 minutes of fame. But the idea of what he's trying to do is something I don't disagree with, right? Because women, once a man releases his whatchamacallit in a woman, he loses all control. The one thing I hate to say it, that I really agree with him, is if I don't want a baby, why should I have to pay for it? The women could, even if you're married, a woman can get rid of your kid, and a woman could do all these kind of things. And any woman who doesn't want a baby, they don't get pregnant. So the fact is that why should he spend 18 years trying to hover over, giving a woman money, 18 to 21 years, if he didn't want that kid? But I don't like the way he's going about it, but I think there should be a movement to change the laws. I really do.
Brother Rich, though, I believe, but that doesn't excuse the deplorable behavior of
from
ejaculating I'm about to tell you, from ejaculating in 7 different women raw. Come on, man.
But
Like,
Hey,
that's
more than
dirty.
7.
No,
Those are just the
okay.
7 that kept the
Hold on.
baby. It's
That's
more than 7.
nasty.
Let me tell you why I feel like let's bring this conversation. We got to get some basis to the conversation because
okay.
I like what Mr. Rich said. I hold those women more accountable. Let me tell you why. Because Callie Bev, I've even heard you say on this network, what about the men, de-discipline, yada yada. That's what all of y'all keep saying. If I was gonna take 10 men and 10 women to start a new community and I was going to train them the right way, give them all the tools to be good, upstanding men so they could marry all of the women. How many men would it take to to disobey me and impregnate all of those women, even though 9 of them are on the straight and narrow? It would
Only
take
one.
It would take one dude to screw up everything. And in modern society, it's going to be more than one dude, right? The dudes that are doing what they're doing, they're not even paying attention to none of this BS. They taking care of their family. Me, Anton, Angry, like all the dudes that talk about this stuff, we married. We're doing what the hell we supposed to be doing. We cannot focus on them degenerates. We no culture on earth except black people focuses on their degenerates. So stop asking us to do it, right? But where was I going with this? The one thing we have not addressed is how the hell these women who are supposed to be valuable, who are supposed to be smart and educated, let this dude run up in you raw. Now, it's only when women don't want to take accountability that they act like lifeless robots that just let stuff happen to them when a man is around. That's the way women make it seem. And the reason I challenge that and I say bring the women to the front of the congregation is because the type of caliber of woman I've associated myself with in my life the whole time when I was in college, this is why I like respectable women. They would like literally, hey fella, this is not even to be graphic. You ever had a girl like do that hand swipe to make sure the condom's still on while you were doing your business? There are
Yeah.
women that are, yes, they will take it to that step with you. They want to have sex. They're human too. They got needs, but they are making sure the whole process is protected, making sure you're not about to, what is it called, ghost them and take the condom off. Those are the women that are responsible. They exist. They're not lifeless robots that's just going to let themselves get an STD from a dude that they're not married to, right? So accountability definitely has to be on these women for just letting that dude ejaculate in them. Like, what type of person does that?
So that's what I was trying to say. Now, I'm not absolving this guy of his bad behavior.
Yeah, he's never
But
absolved.
you
But
can't
he's a
have it
Pookie.
both ways.
That's what they do.
No, wait a minute. But you can't have it both ways as a woman. At any time, even during sex, she could say stop, and the guy is liable by law to go to jail. No man should be able to insert his Johnson in you without you having final say, or else it's SA. That's what it is. He has not been accused of SAing any of these women. Now, women said to him, you ain't getting none unless you strap up. And matter of fact, I'm putting it on you to make sure it's on correctly.
Yep.
He could whine, he could cry, he could do all this shit. But
You
if you
know,
ain't sticking that in me, and he's gonna go to the store if he has to get a condom just to get laid.
you know what
Right?
we
So
need to say though. You know what we need to say.
yes,
First
sir.
of
Go ahead.
all, let's get away from this notion that all these women are good, upstanding women because they ain't.
You're right.
We got
Okay.
women out there that deserve Pookie's ass.
Okay.
They
Yeah, I
move
agree.
like Bonquisha, and Pookie fits right in where he's supposed to be, right over there. That's all her ass deserves. Okay, so let's not keep acting like all the women are, upstanding and oh, poor lady, and somebody ratchet. You know what? Pookie can hang his hat there anytime, and as he should.
I have no
Hey,
argument on that point.
no argument. No argument on that.
So
All right.
listen, men take a brunt of whatever they deserve. We've already been brandished and beat to hell about it. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun for us. When we go into a relationship with a good woman or a bad woman, or not just sex, but anything, we want to get laid. That shit hasn't changed. It's just the methodology of it, and it's always just like when we say. I don't think people really believe this shit when they say it. Women control sex. They got to take responsibility and accountability for that. And we're not talking about SA situations. On just a regular basis, women control access to sex. They just do. And they got to take accountability and responsibility for that. I don't give a shit what the man wants. Because a good man, a bad man, and every goddamn man in between, they want to get laid.
Yep. Damn. Facts. All right. Real quick, Cali Bev, I got a question. Because we like we can talk. I think every man on this panel can talk about the problems. His name is House of Hypocrites. Is it? Goddamn. What a name.
That's a great name.
What a name. What a name. The dude name is House of Hypocrites. All right. So every dude on this panel, I believe, can speak objectively about how House of Hypocrites did wrong. Can you speak objectively? I want to just ask about what those women did wrong.
Slept with that nigga and had the baby. Didn't really know what they was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Or they knew what they was dealing with, but was just ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Ignored all the red flags that was probably, all the red flares. I won't even say flags. I'll say flares. All the red flares that was being shot up in the air.
Yep. You're right. Sometimes flags just stand still. The flares it will be blaring.
It's supposed to light up the night sky, ain't it?
Exactly, right? And they ignored it. You know why they ignore it, though? Here's the funny thing about it, because I've actually been educated on this, and I've been wrong in the past. Women like sex just as much as men do. In fact, I think we're starting to notice that female sexuality, look, I have figured out, or I have noticed that feminism is not new. It's been around and reared its head in almost every empire that we talk about in the past, in school. And the one thing I've noticed is, like, how did they end up canceling it and going back to the way things were and going back to a traditional patriarchy? And I think a part of that answer is you have to keep female sexuality in check for your empire to survive. Because if females run wild sexually, it like you have kind of what we see materializing now, where it's complete hedonism, no accountability, a huge degeneracy, children without father. Like, so at some point, that's why that's probably where it stems. Most of my talking points stem from, where it's like, don't act like female sexuality and liberation is not directly correlated with a degeneracy of an ethnic group. I think it's directly correlated. What do y'all think about that?
I'll go first real quick. Like I said yesterday, I don't believe woman's nature has changed at all. She just got more tools now. Yeah. Anybody who wants to get a kind of, I think this was a good movie. It's a long time ago. The movie was called Quest for Fire with Ray Dawn Chong. They didn't have any words. They were like cavemen. And she was a chick who was in one tribe. And it's an old movie. You really gotta see it. So there was this tribe whose fire ran out, so they had to go on a quest for fire. And then the quest went through all kinds of different cavemen and all this. And at one of the scenes in the beginning was the women drinking water from a lake. And they were bent up. And all the men ran behind them and started humping the chicks. And started, impregnating, just to plant the seed. And there was a lot of sex in the movie. Ray Dawn Chong probably was her better role. She didn't even have any English language. They were around the campfire, all the cavemen, and the leading caveman was there. He was on the quest. He was leading the quest, and she was in heat. So she started lifting up her leg and stuff, and all the men around the campfire were like sniffing, and then he went and he just knocked her out in front of all the other guys, and they all like, ugh. I mean. And then he gets captured by another tribe, and he gets captured, but all they wanted from him was new seed. So they kept putting one woman after the other into his cell, and he was exhausted, just plowing these chicks. And that was just part of the movie. But if you guys never saw A Quest for Fire, you gotta look at it. It's an old classic, I swear to God. Anyway, look at it. All I'm saying is the nature of a woman and her sexuality has only been tamed because as man conquered and so-called tamed the world, just what you said, Mike, they wanted to put governors on the women, right? And women were under that governor until the pill came. Once the pill came out, that's when the big transition started to happen. It didn't change men. It gave women the freedom to have sex indiscriminately, right? And that's 70 years ago, I think, somewhere around there, or something like that. I forgot how much. And we see what the outcome of that is. But that doesn't change the nature of the women. It just gives them the tools to be more of who they are. And they have to be more in control. One more thing, I'm going to shut up. Men have to earn their value.
Yep.
Through accomplishment. Women are born with an inherent value. And their goal is to be able to keep it through their formative years of their life.
Yep.
And grow their value. It's there already. And their virtue is a value that they have to keep. And, they're just throwing that shit to the wind. Right?
And
so
you know what's really bad about it? Because I don't want people to think this show is about, we're not going to regurgitate a bunch of fresh and fit talking points.
Right.
We're actually going to take it a step further. We're actually going to take it a step further to the intellectual side. I hope women understand. I actually do not care if you decide to sow your royal oats and behave in the manner of a man. Where I draw the line is that women then try to change their mind. They try to have it both ways. You cannot participate in the sexual liberation culture and then say there should be no difference of classification between you and a wife. That to me is terrible. There's somebody need to draw a line in the sand and say on one end, we got hoes on one side, wives on the other side. Behave however you choose, but there is a clear line.
Clear
line.
King, I don't know
choose
if
which side you want.
Wait a minute. But see, listen, one of the things that somebody said to me once is that when you have a revelation, it's not a big deal as long as you have them once in a while, right? So I don't want to get on women's case for changing their mind when they get a revelation, even if it's quote unquote too late, right? This reason, whether you accept that or not, as a guy who might want to wife her up, that's kind of like the show yesterday, right? Can you turn a hoe into a housewife? I'm just saying you got to allow people to evolve. So women have to evolve through their experiences. Now, whether men have to accept that or not is a different story. But I don't have any issue with the fact that as long as a woman wants to evolve, who am I to say she can't? That's it. But she can, when a woman behaves like a man, they don't understand the ramifications for them are different than how a man behaves as a man. Let me give it to you this way. And I'm gonna shut up real quick. I always say that, but I am, okay? When I used to go out and say there's no such thing as toxic masculinity, but I was talking from a man's point of view. It's toxic when women wield it because they don't know what the F they're doing. And the corollary to that is, and we all the men here will know what I'm saying. When a man is effeminate, we are all somewhat disgusted by that guy because he takes femininity and it doesn't fit well on a man, just like masculinity doesn't fit on a woman, right? Because now they're going on the opposite side, right? So I try to parallel things up. We have gender roles, and in this country, in this Western civilization, they try to blur and eliminate those roles, and it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster, and it's just not working. And if we don't get that straight, societies are going to crumble.
Indeed. All right, let me get this next question going. I think we have 2 super chats. Let me read those real quick. So everybody just tuning in, welcome to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. We appreciate you. Make sure you get those likes up. Right now, we got 138 people watching and 73 likes. I need those likes all the way up. Get those likes up. Get those likes up right now before we got to go to commercial break on y'all. Get those likes up. 140 people in here. Get them all the way up to 80, 90. We appreciate it. Let me get these super chats out of the way. My man, Advanced Perception, $2. House of Hypocrites takes the cake hands down. Yeah, that's the guy, 7 baby mamas guy. Yeah, up until this week, he wasn't the worst. He definitely the worst now. And the more I listen to him talk and explain, I'm like, dude, should have said what you said for the notoriety and shut up because you sound crazy now. Advanced Perception, $5. All of the women that House was dealing with, at least one was married and that House was dealing with, at least one was married and one in a relationship. There is always a level 0. Indeed. We appreciate the support. If people said I had company, yeah, that was my dad. My parents came in last night. Walked in right on the broadcast and asked me what the Wi-Fi password was. He could have texted to me. All right. Yep. So let's keep this going. I appreciate y'all coming into the Trigger Mike show. If you want to contribute, we will definitely accept answers to the questions in the form of super chat. You can also send a super sticker or a super thanks after the live broadcast to show your support on this good payday. We appreciate it. Today's topic is the power of Pookie. We got some of the all-stars here. If I will drop the link again in a moment if you want to come up, panel up, and get some of these thoughts off your chest as well. All right, next question. We're going to start with Callie Bev. I want a woman's perspective on this. Why are Pookies considered the most popular representation of black men? And if I had to just give one person, I'd say Future. Why is Future more popular than Cornell West, the Harvard, or maybe, yeah, I think he works for Harvard now, the Harvard professor? Why is Future more popular than Cornell West? So why are Pookies considered the most popular representation of black men?
Because one is in media and the other one is not. One has to deal with serious topics, the other one doesn't. One requires you to actually, I'd say, think on a different level, while the other one is just simply, you hear the beat and you bob your head.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I tell you, Pookie, whether we like to admit it or not, is very popular. Pookie crosses all lines and all class levels. Pookie hits lawyers. Pookie hits the ratchet ones. Pookie hits schoolgirls. Pookie hit wives. Pookie hit police officers. Pookie hit everybody. Pookie a popular dude. I'm just saying.
Pookie hit everybody.
Everybody.
You have like one quotable every show.
What that?
Hall of Fame quotable in the chat right now. Pookie hit everybody. All right, my man Trey, what's going on?
What's good with y'all?
Oh man, it's Friday.
What up, Trey?
What's good, King Spark Alley? Hold on, let me read the question. Why are Pookies considered the most popular representation of black men? Oh, because they're fun. They're exciting. Pookies are exciting, and women love, and even men want to be around the guy who's got the clout. He's got the, he's fun. You know what I mean? He's going out to the clubs on the weekends, and he's, they don't care about the quality of the women. They don't care about the quality of anything. They just want to have a good time. And so that's why they are the most popular representation, because, they allow us to achieve, well, I'm not going to say us because I don't hang around Pookies, but they allow people to achieve the dopamine hit that they want so badly.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right. So, Black Man Unfiltered, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing today, and lady? How are y'all today?
Oh, we're doing well. We're doing well. So the question on the table is, why are Pookies considered the most popular representation of black men?
Because women are putting on the persona that they want a man that's 6 foot tall, making 6 figures, and he's swinging like Bojangles between the legs. However, what we've come to decide is 70% of our black women are single moms, and they get pregnant by the man that they don't desire. So I think women are visualizing Disney man, but they're really sleeping with Pookie man. And the reason that the representation is so large for Pookies is because women elevate Pookies. I don't elevate Pookies. Like you said, some men like to hang around dudes like that because they may draw some of that attention, but the majority of men are not hanging around no Pookies. The women uplift them. I've been around women that says, girl, them Pookies, the ones that sit at home and play them games all day, them the ones that be putting it down, girl. Right? So they don't care if they got a job. They don't care about no six figures. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is that 25 minutes a pound game that they're gonna get, and when they get pregnant, they become another statistic. So that's my view. That's my view of it, brother.
Hey, that's
Can we
actually
please
an
stop
excellent view.
misquoting this? That
So
Jesus Christ.
the reason why I like that so much, that what you said, a portion of what you said that it's the women propping up Pookies. This is why I don't like any pushback that I get from my shorts or on this channel about why we're not talking to degenerate men. We don't associate with those fools at all. Remember, Pookie is not a person. He's a lifestyle. I've separated myself from that lifestyle. Therefore, I've separated from myself from the men who practice that lifestyle. Naturally, as I became a husband and a father, I no longer seek these dudes out to hang around. As I wanted to elevate my station in life, I no longer seek those men to hang around. I want people of status that I'm trying to achieve to hang around. That's who I hang with. People who got more than me, not even the same as me. People who got more. Any outcome that I'm trying to achieve, that is who is in my friend group. So when y'all say talk to the Pookies, I believe they are so popular. It is a 100% representation of female prominence in the black community. That is why Pookies are so popular.
I think Callie.
I disagree.
I think Callie Bell had a pushback on something I said. I'm really interested in what she has to say.
I was just saying, can we please stop misquoting this stat? Because it's not 70% of women are single mothers, and 70% of children are born to single mothers. But I would say
that doesn't make, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense unless you're saying that every woman has one child. But my pushback,
it's actually three.
Exactly, which further proves my point. So, whatchamacallit, as far as what Trigger Mike was saying, maybe forget my point, black man filter. God damn it. But no, I would say as far as being popularized and everything like that, I would say that men spend they spend a good amount of time propping up these niggas too. You may not hang with them, but you do talk about them. Just like you might not hang with ratchet females, but you talk about them. You know what I'm saying? So unless we're going to completely cut ourselves off on either end, there's both genders are going to be the ratchets are going to be popularized, and so are the Pookies and the Ray Rays.
But talking about them and uplifting them, that's two different things. And I can say, man, look at that Pookie ass dude over there. He trash. But the black woman gonna say, look at Pookie girl, look at them sweatpants. That girl, boy, he got a dick on him. I fuck the shit out of that nigga. Right? So I'm talking about uplifting and talking about is two different things. And when I'm telling you, these women out here are saying these Pookie and Ray Rays got the best sex, they got the best everything.
Yeah, I mean,
they probably do.
Let me tell you something.
So how was that uplifting though? Uplifting is telling the truth.
Callie Bev, you can't win this.
So telling the truth, but what's the consequences of that though, Callie? What's the consequences of you laying down with a dude that ain't got shit?
No, just because you talking don't mean you laying down with them either. I could talk about men and they gray sweatpants all day. I don't mean I'm fucking them.
No, it's Callie Bev. Let me jump in here. So one of the things that I like about being friends with so many people in different groups is that one of the things it was a Hispanic girl that basically said this in my lecture, like while they were talking, we were talking about something on this, and she said, y'all got to be crazy to think that other people in different ethnic groups look at what's going on in the black community and think it's the men's fault. Like they say, how can 1 in 4, or really under the age of 50, it's more like 1 in 9 or 10. How in 1 in 10 of y'all can be married and you think it's the men they got the problem. Like
Man, come on.
literally, like they said, if you look at the children and all of the complaints that women have, look at the men they birth children for. How the hell can a woman who has the choice of who she gives her womb to be complaining? How can so many of y'all be complaining about the man you gave? That is the one piece of power you all have. If you preserve yourself for the right man, check all the right boxes, you're basically saying, unofficially, what black women are saying is we are the worst decision makers in the world, because every woman knows all you have to do is preserve yourself for a man with certain characteristics. So nobody believes this is actually men's fault. There's nothing men can say about Pookies to make them prominent. The access they have to our women is what makes them prominent. Let me tell you something about the way things work. If you hold off on Pookie, if you say, Pookie, I ain't screwing you, you don't have the right behavior, what would more black men want to be? If Sierra told Future, you ain't shit, you ugly, I don't like niggas that roll like you, and got married to Russell Wilson, and all Sierras were doing that with Russell Wilson, what would the Futures want to be? Who would they want to be like? I just got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
They would want to be like Russell. But because women gravitate to Future, what do the young boys, looking at this example, and let me make this clear, boys do all this for women. We do what women require in order to get women. That is our ultimate goal. So you got young boys wanting to be more like Future than Russell Wilson. Therein lies the problem.
Okay, I mean, if y'all like ratchets, then y'all like ratchets. I'm finna go warm up my food. I'll be back.
Mike, I say this, man. This is probably gonna go a little bit deeper. But I will say this: it's also it's our traditions and our beliefs, right? This goes as deep as Christianity, right? You got the devil and you got God, right? So it's almost like the devil becomes more alluring. Like, so it's like if you take a good girl, right, and you tell her you can't do this, don't hang out with him, don't do that, right? It's almost just the curiosity, it's the mystique about dealing with the bad guy, dealing with the devil, right? And because we have these things fixated in our mind as good and bad thing, that's why the devil is always going to get his play, because everybody's walking around trying to be so goody two shoes and Christ-like and all this shit. So when the dude that comes around, everybody says don't have nothing to do with him, it makes him almost more popular.
Indeed, that's facts, bro. That is facts. This if black women were attracted to scientists, the hood would be Wakanda. That is facts.
Damn, boy, I like that.
Yeah, I like that one. That was pretty dope. That was pretty dope. Mr. Rich, did you get in on this? Why are Pookies considered the most popular representation of black men?
Well, that just goes hand in hand with the rest of our culture. It's in the trash, right? I mean, there's a lot of dichotomies going on. Look at the most famous songstress and rappers. I mean, they just talk about decadence and free sex and hypocrisy. Both Beyonce, Sierra, even Nicki Minaj. They talk all that shit, but they're all married. They all have their kids within wedlock, and they're telling all the women in their audience to just be hoes, right? So and then they go home to their husbands and comfort and millions. And you got Biden and I can get political. We got the Democratic Party just constantly telling all blacks that we're victims of every goddamn thing. We're still talking about slavery a million years after this shit's over, and we got so many successful black people out there that we kind of ignore. Well, we think the black community is just like the inner cities are dead because we got bad policies. But there's a lot of successful black people just 180 years from the worst slavery a man has ever known in this country. And 50 years or 70 years from Jim Crow? I mean, shit, we don't talk about the good shit that all of us do enough. We focus on the bullshit. Right now, we're fighting our women. They're fighting us, and maybe rightfully so over certain things, but We're so focused on all kinds of shit except our achievements. And so when you got a circle of black men, Mike, and everybody here who are well-to-do, I don't know how you feel, but when I see a man making $200,000 a year, talking about how white man is keeping him down and shit like that, I always remind him that you're making 5 times more than an average white man. How the fuck are you being kept down? So we focus on some of the wrong things. Now, I'm not saying we don't have a problem, but how do we fix it? Or do we? Well, I don't think we can fix it. I think we just need to move on with the people who want to come. There's women out there who believe the story, who believe black men should be leaders. There's still a pocket of women out there that believe that shit. We got to find them and go build new communities, because the inner cities, like, we ain't fixing some of that shit, and I don't think it's worth the goddamn pain. I really don't.
So, Brother Payne, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Do you said women are arguing with men and men arguing with women, and you said rightfully so in some situations.
Yes.
I think the narrative would change if women wouldn't argue with men, because a part of leadership is men saying what it is. Let me give you an example. My grandfather used to sit in the house, and we'd all go over there every Sunday with my grandmother. And my mom and my aunt would get into the argument, or the kids would get into an argument, or they get too loud. And my grandfather, with a very stern voice, would say, "Everybody be quiet." And the entire house, grown women, grown men, children alike, would shut the hell up, because he was a leader and they respected him for his leadership. What would the world look like if women didn't have pushback, or tried to be like men and tried to be equal to men, or tried to be argumentative with men? And women say, "You know what, baby, you got it. All right, I'm following you. All right, you right." And if it was like that, it wouldn't be no arguments. It wouldn't be any, male versus female, all this stuff going on. It wouldn't be no gender wars. It would be women in their rightful place, respecting men who are in their rightful place.
I didn't say anything that disagrees with what you said, because I came from the same kind of household. My grandfather.
Exactly, bro.
So I agree with you, but that's how we think it should be, but that's not how it is. Right? And so what I'm saying is that the amount of energy for us to try to correct what's wrong, it's not worth the squeeze anymore. Some of the women, let me just finish this. We got to build a new black community who put victimization in the background, who goes back to some of those traditions, understanding that we got modern women and men that we got to deal with, and there's still enough women who are, are modern, who will, acquiesce to a man's leadership. They just are. We kind of try to say that, they just are. To say that it's not is that's the real defeatism. If we're going to let me just finish this, and you can go ahead. If we're going to try to take Pookie from the inner city and try to give her a revelation on that she shouldn't just be giving her box up to any asshole that appeals to her, how much energy is that going to take? I think and we got black mayors. Look at Mayor Gordon Lightfoot, destroyed goddamn Chicago, and all of that shit, and all the black mayors in all the inner cities is all freaked up. How are we going to fix that shit?
Maryland just had their first black governor. We're not.
Well, check this out.
We're not where we used to be.
Well, here's a bigger question. The bigger question is what it seems it all keeps boiling back down to. The bigger question is, what are we going to do to counteract feminism on a large scale?
How do we counteract it? Is we find women who are, there are actually women who are against feminism.
They are. So but
but are they the minority? Are they the minority or the majority, though?
No. Well, hold on. They're the minority, but every good movement starts with a critical mass. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. It doesn't start as a big boulder. It starts as a small snowball.
So we got 14 million. So we got 14 million feminists, and we got 200,000 women that say they're against feminism. How can you combat that?
You lose that fight 10
Can I
times
ask
out
a
of 10.
question? Can I ask a question? I'm just trying to see something. Do y'all think I'm a feminist?
Yes.
That's what the problem is right there. Y'all don't know it when y'all damn see it.
First off, put that damn fork down. Don't point that fork at me.
Don't say y'all. Everybody
that was
said,
violent.
You also say that even if you were a feminist, right? You're not acting like there's different levels of feminism. Because I'm all for, like, you know, going to school and doing other shit like you have, but the feminism that's being practiced now is more like Nazism. It's not feminism.
Yeah.
Woo, shit.
Yeah, it's more about supremacy and
I don't want to talk
not
about
equality.
you while you're not cammed up. I mean, cam up. So Cali Bev,
No, I was getting ready to eat my enchiladas. That's why.
Give me 1 second. So what you're doing is what I can't. This needs to be said, especially to a married woman. What you're doing is being feminist adjacent. You are too afraid of the sisterhood, right? I told you, as black men, we need to draw a line in the sand. Wives on one side, non-wives. Anybody that wants to identify with that ideologist. It is nothing about feminism is about family, is about unity or togetherness with men in charge. Therefore, you can't. And you know this is even bad for a marriage. Not talking about your marriage specifically, but it's bad for a woman to be a wife and still want to have one toe in the single woman's playground. It is extremely bad. That's so what we see a lot of black women doing, unfortunately, is even though you no longer identify as a feminist, you want to be feminist adjacent. It's like, I can go out with brunch with the girls and nothing gonna happen. I got on skin tight pants, but nobody gonna holler at me because I got a ring on my finger. Bullshit. You're supposed to be going out with your married friends. You're supposed to be not picking up the phone and going out to brunch. You're supposed to go out to brunch maybe with your married friend. In fact, can our husbands come? Like, you see what I'm saying? So it also comes out in the talking points that you align with. I notice a lot of wives, the ones that men like, you'll notice it from us. Just watch us. The women we like that we prop up are the women who know when to, basically cape for family, togetherness, everything that they're about when they took that vow of wife, and they know when to sit down with their posture when the feminist terrorists are talking. Like, girl, I can't align with you. I'm married. Doesn't even matter if I agree with what you're saying. I chose a side a long time ago. That's all we saying.
I would like an explanation as to how I display all of that. And your assumption that I go out to brunch with single friends is laughable on its face.
I'm giving your ass. Hey, babe, your ass is combative.
I'm combative with y'all because y'all interpretations are messed up. So yes, I'm going to combat that. So I can't. So I'm not supposed to have an opinion?
Yeah, you're Kevin.
Just let y'all get that off.
Black Man Unfiltered. I got one for you. Now I don't know about your statistics about 200,000 against 20 million or whatever.
Y'all being.
What I'm just trying to say is that we all know that there's a certain amount of women, even like Cali Bev, who understands acquiescence to a man because she's married. She talks a lot of shit on this panel, but that's not how she is in practice with her husband. I just feel that way because if he was a serious simp, she wouldn't be with him. She wouldn't be.
So, Mr. Payne, let me say this to you. It's one thing to combat this feminist movement, but watch this. What happens is, like Trigger Mike just said, they're feminists, they're adjacent to them. So basically what that means, the sisterhood is like the mob. And you don't go, you can say what you want to say, but if you better not come against us, because we'll destroy you. And so if you got women out here that don't like it, but you ain't gonna have no woman coming up and speaking about it. Now she ain't gonna like it from her bedroom, but she ain't gonna come on no public platform. Okay, right now, Trigger Mike had a show today. And he said, I want all the women who are against feminism to come up here right now and speak on it. I bet he'll have 10 people watching, and ain't no woman finna come up on that panel and say a damn thing.
Let me just respond on that point.
What sisterhood am I supposed to be afraid of on these platforms?
Let me just say this on this thing, and you can go, right? Listen, you're on these airwaves. There's the Crimson
Absolutely.
There's Dee Dee. There's Chantel. There's a whole bunch of women coming out. Not a bunch, but there's women starting to coming out.
Exactly.
So it starts with that. It starts with that snowball at the top of the damn hill.
I'm sorry, Mr. Payne, I can't really hear you because my phone is breaking up. I'm gonna ask you what you said again later.
A couple of guys until it grown into this whole thing where we don't need the commercial airwaves to get our point across. It started small and it's ballooning. It's gonna take some time. You know,
it is, and you know what? But you know what though? When they had that Me Too march or they had that feminism march on Washington, did you see it?
No.
Oh my God! That feminist movement on Washington, you should have seen the women. It was so many women out there. It was elbow to elbow. I mean, if you talk, if a woman turned her head and said hi, the spit from her mouth would go another woman's mouth. That's how many women were out there, man. I mean, streets were packed, jail, anything.
No, I hear you.
So what I'm saying is, bro.
Go ahead.
I mean, I would say one thing about feminists I do support, and I don't know what their logic is on this one, but I don't know who told feminists to burn their bras, but hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool.
Hey, King Spark, it ain't all bad. It ain't all bad.
Some of them need to support though. Some of them need to put their motherfuckers back on. Yes.
Nah, man.
I think the discussion about feminism is a lot to do about nothing.
In fact, I was about to, we got to get our new panelists in there. Let me say why King Spark, I disagree with King Spark and Trey. All of that now is too much. And I'm a boob dude. Okay, I'm a titty guy. That's too much now. Now it's free to titty. And when they should have on bras, the shit is literally just. You ever seen a woman look for something and go swing the
man?
Like,
Trigger Mike.
Listen, Trigger Mike. I used to work those protests, and those would be 12-hour days. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you standing on your feet for 12 hours, you can appreciate a woman wanting to show you her boobs. And you don't care what they. After about 8 hours on shift, you don't give a damn what they look like. At that. Be honest. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Trey, you my brother and I love you. But I'm telling you, I'm in Dallas and they had that same type of march here in Dallas. And I went down there to see. I said, I'm finna go down here and see. When I tell you some of them titties look like pit bull puppies in Walmart bags. They look like pit bull puppies in Walmart bags.
Not all
and they were slanging everywhere. They looked like old roadways. It was horrible.
And then let me make the ultimate point about it. You can't concentrate as a dude because everybody nipples hard as shit because it ain't like the bra. Cause so it just be rubbing up against it and the nipples hard as shit. So I be sitting there like trying to concentrate, like what the god damn, you got 4 eyes right now. Goodness gracious, look at them things.
My lord.
All right. Sorry, Sparkle.
Hey, Ali said something he wanted to say about feminism. That might be good to hear.
Y'all crazy. Sparkle.
Hey man.
What did you say, Mike? Sorry, I didn't hear you over.
No, I said, what do you got on the topic? Why are Pookies? Wait. Just making sure we can be kind to our people from across the pond. Are you aware of what we're talking about when we say Pookie?
Yes.
All right, bet. So why are Pookies considered the most popular representation of black men? I think this is actually happening in the UK too.
Yeah, I think because by and large, the black man is fetishized. You know, we all know the rhetoric that he has the longest parts and is the best in bed and all the rest of it. And I think
yes.
And I think because of that trope and those stereotypes, people gravitate towards the Pookies because, as you all know, women talk. And so if someone's had a session with a Pookie and it's been a good one, she'll come back to the girls and lay it all out and tell everybody all the details and all the rest of it. And if you're talking to a 304 type of chick, she might be like, oh, I wouldn't mind having a turn myself. I mean, as you know, the stats say something like on dating sites, 80% of women are swiping for 20% of men, right? So clearly they have some type of swagger or some type of game or some type of attraction that's pulling in all the women. But I think it's because of the fetishization, in all honesty. I can't understand why else, because when you hear them talk, especially when you hear them talk about women, and they call them bitches and hoes and all the rest. I don't see why you'd want to spend your time with one. So I can only think sexual.
So what we're not gonna do is give all this attention to these Pookies acting like they the only one that's got some good dick, because I'll stroke a motherfucker to sleep. So, and I ain't no Pookie. So my thing is, I'm trying to figure out why we giving all this attention to these Pookies. Like, these niggas got the best dick, they got the best opportunities. Hell, these niggas asking me to borrow money. Pookie asked me, hey man, you got $5 for some gas? 50 cents for me to get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? So listen, we ain't gonna give them all that energy now. I mean, I guess some of us used to be ex-Pookies or something, maybe. Hell, I don't know. But I mean,
the thing is, if you're dealing with a woman that has substance and class, she's not gonna want to mess with one of them. And I say this personally, like, if you're a woman that considers yourself feminine and you don't mess with all this feminist stupidness, you're gonna want a man that's about something, who's obviously attractive and all the rest of it, but it's not all about the aesthetic. It's it's a man that has some real character and is about something. So
I'll tell you what, Sparkle,
Sparkle, can you say class one more time?
Class.
Oh, there it is. Okay, that's it.
I'll tell you what, Sparkle. I don't know what.
I don't know that here in America. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what defines what you were talking about, Sparkle. But I tell you what, a Pookie that can speak English is a bad motherfucker. If that nigga can speak English good, he's a bad son.
Okay, King Spark, to answer your question, I would say quite a few of you guys that I've seen right here on this network would fall into that line. Respectable men have standards, have a certain criteria of lifestyle that you're trying to reach. And, you're not about the whole, street life. You're trying to make businesses, you're trying to make things happen. You're about the community, you're about your family. That kind of man is a man of class and substance.
But what I'm saying is that we all don't derive from the same upbringing.
No, we don't.
It doesn't. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you gotta hit the Pookie phase on your way to being the upstanding gentleman. In some cases, in my case anyway, I was a Pookie for a little bit.
I mean,
I was
Pookieing it up.
Some would argue I'm still in the phase.
To be fair, if some women out there talk about having, the hoe phase and the hot girl summer phase, I imagine for some of the guys, that's their version of that, So I see what you're saying with that.
What really
right, but apparently
like
only
Pookie,
one
though?
gender is redeemable and the other isn't. My bad, Ali.
Nah, you good. I was about to say, what really constitutes as a Pookie? Like, what's the criteria of a Pookie?
Future.
So a womanizer, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of criteria, but that definition was long as hell. But we'll go with Future for now.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like Future, his brand of masculinity is something that's like very commodifiable. People see it. It's something that they can latch on to. I also do feel like for a long time, like the image of what Black men were supposed to be in media and as a whole was very much stagnant. If you talk about from like that 1990s, you got like NWA all the way to probably, I honestly want to say maybe 2007 with Kanye or whatever, where the tide kind of starts to change, but you still see remnants of that viewpoint of how we view Black men from that time was very much stagnant. You either had to be Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z, or fucking DMX or something like that, or somehow street adjacent or whatever. I think we're just now starting to get out of like the phase of having such a stagnant viewpoint of how we view in the representation of Black men. But I do think that archetype of Future in them is very much popular because it was so very much commodifiable for such a long period of time. I get, like I said, from the 1990s and on.
Okay.
Y'all do realize that Caucasian Pookies exist too, right?
Well, that's another thing I want to say too. Like that
yeah, I do realize that
the idea of like women liking the bad boy is something that's always it crosses like ethnic lines. Like that's not just a Black thing.
I was gonna say that's not what we're saying. Pookies actually exist in every ethnic group.
Okay.
We're talking about the prominence of Pookie over the upstanding gentleman is not prominent. Because when you say show me your best in every single ethnic group, if you ask an educated person with a K through 12 education, they're not even if the guy is a womanizer, he has accolades, he has tact, courtesy. You know, he carries himself well in public and put on a suit. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's usually that guy.
But that guy also has that guy.
Those things in the
but
black
that
community,
same guy normally has child pornography charges. So
No, he
let's
don't.
just
No, he don't.
yeah, shit.
No, he don't.
Come on, man.
but
You know
I
that
want this.
upstanding. You know them upstanding politicians got them situations.
White ice is colder, King Spark. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Oh,
Okay.
Don't terrorize us with that.
Okay.
Do not terrorize. Okay, you know
And
what?
I want the way.
Y'all, I mean, I might as well. I'm a feminist, right? Because I go to brunch with my married friends and shit.
Don't be mad at us. Change your viewpoint. Choose a side. But this is actually a perfect segue. And
I'm getting food on my shirt.
Is it Shway?
Yes.
I want you to answer this first. So this is actually a perfect segue into the next one. Let me read the super chats real quick, and you're gonna answer first. Mr. Ritz, $10. Appreciate that. Says, what is the difference between a house of hypocrisy and Nick Cannon? One of them claims the children. That's about it.
A whole bunch of zeros.
Claims and cares for the children. Oh, and you know what? Nick Cannon, I don't know what he's doing. I mean, but one hell of a job keeping your baby mamas in check. Out of all the ones he got, only one of them kind of appears to not want to be involved with the rest. You know what I mean? I don't know how long that's going to last. But as Jody showed us from Baby Boy, yeah, your baby mom, that situation goes sideways real quick.
Well, which one you talking about? Come on.
Which one?
Yeah, which one of his baby mamas ain't in check? He's spending like $3 million.
So you know how he usually goes on tour, like right before they have the baby, and she's all like, "Oh, Nick is a great father," and he takes pictures and all that. I think there's one dark skinned one. I think the dark skinned one is like, "No, I ain't doing it." Like, she doesn't come out in the media and like blast the situation, but she kind of throws jabs like, "I don't want to be involved."
She's fronting.
Yeah, I don't want to follow the program.
Maybe she don't want to be involved in the damn parade. How about that?
She definitely wants to be involved. She signed up for it.
You took that semen, you involved now.
She signed up.
No, I'm talking about in the parading of her and the child. Maybe she doesn't want to be involved in that limelight.
Everything
okay, all right, yeah, she's the worst. Okay.
Well, hang on.
Look, feminism. You think we saying stuff we ain't even saying?
Yeah.
She's just being disruptive.
No, because what I'm saying just couldn't possibly be accurate. So I'll let y'all have it. She's the worst. Okay, keep going.
Nobody's saying she's the worst, though.
Come on, Callie. Come on.
Well,
you on one today.
To be honest with you, I thought that the only one that really voiced problems was Mariah, who's the only one who married.
She's not a baby mama.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's Mariah Carey, and not one person mentions her in the baby. She's literally the first, and she was his ex-wife, so she probably don't even want to be in that.
Nobody considers her a baby mama. Nobody.
No, but what I'm saying is, out of the women he's had children with, she seems to be the only one who's voiced a public complaint about his conduct.
Why isn't Mariah considered a baby mama?
Because she's the wife.
Well, she was married.
She's the ex-wife.
I don't consider divorced women baby mama.
But if you remember,
she's not a baby mama.
But if you remember, Nick married her before the babies, so it's not like she got pregnant and then married her. Yeah. So it is slightly different where she's concerned.
I don't consider divorced women baby mamas.
It ain't slightly different. It's
chat,
all the way
are divorced women baby mamas? Let's see what the chat thinks.
Trey's face.
Trey don't like nobody. Everybody.
I really don't think it matters. To be honest with you,
you know why I consider them a baby mama. If she filed for divorce, then I consider her baby mama.
They had
y'all think every woman filed for divorce on some bullshit, and that's some bullshit.
That's
regardless of her reason.
Just because I disagree with y'all narrative doesn't make me a feminist. It's not feminism either.
I don't think no one knows anything about
y'all. Be tripping. I'm gonna stop coming up here because y'all being weird.
You better not. You know we love you.
No one would know who you're talking about.
So say what you mean, Ali. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but say what you mean. What do you mean it doesn't matter? Well, I mean, I don't know if it matters, but what do you mean by when you say it doesn't matter?
I mean, I just think like it's much to do about nothing about if their baby mamas are married. Like also too, you're talking about rich people. They live by a totally different way of life as well.
No doubt.
So like marriage, their relationships, it's just you're comparing apples to oranges when you're trying to compare.
Not when it comes to marriage. I agree. I disagree with that part of it. Marriage is sacred regardless of how much money you have. It means
marriage is
something.
only as sacred as you make it.
No.
It's
But it's still a commitment.
If you decide that's what you want. Like marriage is sacred to you because you hold value with it, but other people may not hold the same value with it.
Well, then why would they get married? It doesn't matter how much money you have. It's
no, but I'm saying
because it's 2023. People get married today. People get married today, and the vows are empty. They don't mean anything.
Hold on, Trey, because every time people come for marriage, I got two questions, and then I could maybe drift over to your point. Do most marriages involve children?
Yes.
That's why the covenant remains sacred within marriage. If it was just between two people, I think you could change what that means. But as we can see by modern statistics, there is one way children are supposed to be raised in order for them to have the best, most productive, and functional future, and that's within marriage. So without that particular part of it, if two people want to get married and change what it means without the kids, we could do that. But most marriages involve kids. That's why it will always be a sacred institution, because it will always have value in that one respect, if not nothing.
And I don't disagree. I'm just saying that people are getting married in today's age, and all of that you just said, those beautiful, eloquent words, don't mean anything to them. All of the beautiful, eloquent words of the vows, to sickness and health, till death do us part. All of this great stuff that's supposed to be this covenant, this bond, right? This agreement that you make with God. They don't believe it. They don't believe it.
You know what? I don't even disagree. I don't disagree. I'm gonna just modify. What I believe is that they weren't taught how. That's it. They weren't taught how, because the bad part is everything leading up to marriage they want. Everything. They like there's no woman that's sitting around having a dude's baby in his house. They're building a life together. Her check is going to pay, and his check is going to pay the mortgage. Her check pays some of the bills. There's no way a woman is living that life with a man, and it's like, oh, I'm cool if he don't marry me or not. Hell no. You want that from that dude. Both of you are scared that you won't be able to do it properly, and you got too much at stake because nobody taught you or it wasn't modeled for you. I believe that wholeheartedly.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
I was going to ask Trey, who is they?
When we first started dating, I asked her, do you want to be married? And she said no. I said, great, because I don't either. And about 2 years later, she felt completely different. And we could never get back on track. And I also agree with you, Trigger Mike. A lot of us don't know. I can use myself again. My mom didn't get married until I was 17, and she was only married for 3 years. By the time I got back from my first tour in Iraq, she was divorced. My grandmother divorced. Well, I'm just trying to give you a little bit of insight, Brother Payne.
I hear you.
So you have some context. So you have some context as to why I think the way that I think.
No, I hear you. But what I'm just trying to say,
and my grandmother divorced her husband, and my uncle who stepped in for my father was never around. He was married 3 times. So to your point, Trigger Mike, a lot of us that grew up, especially us 80s baby, we grew up. We don't know what the covenant, we don't know what that bond means. We never really saw it. We don't understand it.
But those are individual choices, aren't they? So, because what I'm saying is, listen, I have a piece to talk about the ties that bind, right? I go chronicle from my grandfather back in the early 1900s, because I'm a baby boomer, all the way up to Generation Z in my family. And the first 3 generations, baby boom, the greatest generation, the silent generation, and myself, the baby boomers, there were 32 of us. 27 of those couples were married. And all the people underneath that created this safety net. So here we are 123 years later. Our family still has family reunions that dip down to the 6th generation. And it was all because of marriage. And that net is starting to loosen because from Gen X on, out of the 49 people born to Gen X, only 10 of them are married. And so as you go to the millennials, as you go to, you can see the net loosening, right? And I go back and forth with some of my female cousins. I kind of tell them to soften the blow. I said, the reason why our family is still so close is because we had so many women in it. Because if it was just men, we would be two sheets to the wind across the globe, right? So I'm trying to get them to understand that if they're having babies, they should commit. And I write pieces on that. I have a piece that I wrote on that. And then I have on my channel, I have that. I think my goddamn the what's it called, the front page? I think it's pretty good. But that's another side. But how I come across might be different. However, I think that we need to start to talk about the essence of stuff, not only because what it should be, but what it is and what it can be again. Because I argue with my cousins again. They don't want me to talk about marriage, but I'm the only one in my family saying, listen, I don't give a shit what you say. I'm not going to stop being an advocate for marriage. You don't have to be married, but if you're not married and you have kids and you're shacking up with somebody, you still need a will. You still need power of attorney. What's going to happen to the kids if both of you guys die? You still need all of this shit. And so as you need beneficiaries. Let me also say that at least when you're married, at least some of that shit is taken care of by state laws, right? So you can't just go shack up and have kids and just think it's okay because we don't have to commit. And all that means is that if I find someone better, I'm leaving your stink ass so I'm a monkey branch, both men and women. That's what that means, right? Or else why not just commit?
But marriage isn't stopping that. Marriage isn't stopping somebody from doing that.
No, yeah, but it's not the end of the world if you get married, though. You still need to do half the shit that I just said, right? So commit. Show your kids some shit, man. Show them that you could be committed to something, right? Just shacking up. Show your kids.
I should involve the government. I should involve the government in my relationship.
The government's a piece of shit. I'm not going to defend the government.
For my kids.
Let's bring the government in because it's for the kids.
You know it's more than that, bro. You know it's more than that.
You show the kids.
But that's what he said. I'm just going off what he said.
Do you know?
I said the government takes care of the shit that two people shacking up don't. And let me tell you why I know they don't. Because most married couples don't have all that shit together. So if you're going to shackle with somebody and start having children, your obligation changes. Your obligation just change. I mean, whether you want to admit that shit or not. And here's
we got to get the sparkle for her hand.
This is my last thing.
God damn, she's had that shit up for about.
Once I have a kid, the last thing I want to do is have my woman have some other asshole come into the house, busting her ass down with my kid in the next room.
Good God.
But marriage doesn't stop that.
In the house it does. Come on, Trey. Come on. With the kids in the house.
It's a whole different level of commitment, and Trey knows that. He's just acting funny.
Look, let's get the sparkle because like her hand got to be sore, and then I'm gonna rebut.
Okay, I'm actually gonna respond to what you said. And the truth, I share the same sentiments as you when it comes to marriage, but by and large, I disagree from what I'm seeing around. I don't know if it's the same in the States as it is here in England, but I know a lot of couples that are shacked up. They've got kids, the 9, and they will not get married because they're going to lose a whole ton of money if they do. A lot of single mothers are incentivized. They get given social housing. They get given financial benefits, child credits. They get a lot of money incentives by the government to stay single. And they have their men in the house with them, but on paper, they look single because if they marry, all of a sudden now he's responsible for all the financial benefits that the government's giving to them. So there's a lot of people who are anti-marriage and they say stupid things like, oh, it's only a piece of paper. No, it's not. Ultimately, people forget it's not just a wedding day and a couple of rings each of you wear. But in my opinion, I really think in 2023, with the current climate, with the way people's mindsets are, it's kind of unless you're purely financial and you're thinking of tax breaks, I don't think you should mess with marriage unless you're a person of faith and you really hold the right standards for it. Because if it is just a legal document, that then, you know, as Shay said, as Ali said, it doesn't hold the same weight. If
It's
you're
a trap,
somebody that
though,
really
right?
takes your vows
Sparkle, it's a
seriously,
trap.
you're a person of faith, you're more likely to take it seriously, in my personal
It's a
opinion.
financial trap, though, Sparkle. But tell me how many of those people relying on government subsidies get beyond being in poverty level, or living check to check,
Yeah,
or somehow, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I agree.
and the Black American woman is a champion of that, because the Monahan report will tell you all you need to know about what you just said. So what I'm saying
It's
is,
the
it's the
same. It's the
trap.
same here, Rich. It's the same here. I mean,
No, I hear you. And you know what? Just
they.
Pearly things. It's just Pearly things. No matter what you think about her, she shed a light on how close the people live in London and England and in the
It's very
United
similar.
States, how close we are. They're
It's
very
very
similar.
similar. I mean,
Yep.
unfortunately, I don't know. Here's the thing. My generation, those of you know, I'm 35, so I'm like the last end of millennials. My generation is probably the first generation in this country where it wasn't frowned upon to come from a single mother. It used to be single mothers used to be looked at sideways, like, where's your man at? Where a lot of my friends all came up with single parent situations. I'm one of the only ones whose parents were divorced, but a lot of my friends and some of my cousins and such didn't have married parents. And it's now rare to see married families. And now the kids that come out of married homes, they feel special because they're different. Everyone else is broken homes, weekends with dad, or every other weekend with dad, mum's with me most of the time, or they don't see one of their parents at all. The kids that have both parents in the house is rare, at least here in London, from what I see.
It's rare here too, so it's rare
but
everywhere.
it does seem to be, from my observation, it does seem to be a lot more Black couples are actually trying to at least live together. If they're not married, they're not trying to do the separate home thing. Like, they're trying to get it correct, but for whatever the reason, I don't know if marriage scares them, if it's the commitment of, oh crap, like I'm legally tied to this woman, or if they just don't see the weight in it because they don't hold religious values anymore. But I think we're in the days now where the single mother is more common than the married mother. And so to preach marriage to people, it's difficult because they have a mindset.
It's not difficult. It's just like you have to be a voice in the wind. If nobody's saying it,
it's difficult, Rich, when I say it's difficult, I mean it's difficult to bring the message home to them. It's difficult for them to receive what we're saying because their parents were single parents and they did okay and they grew up okay. So they just don't see the value that we're talking about.
Exactly. And I'm willing, in my piece that I wrote, I like write one piece, I sold them all the ways that I think there's value. And for the men who don't want to get married, it's usually an economic thing because the states will mess you up. But a prenup by a lawyer, your lawyer and her lawyer,
or a personal,
well, a prenup or whatever it is in this design for the state that you live in will give you some kind of cover if you have assets that you might lose. So it's not a good excuse anymore. And if the woman doesn't want to sign a prenup, then she ain't for you. That's just another thing in the vetting process. If a woman ain't going to get on your program, even for the prenup, then don't marry the chick. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just the way it is. If she doesn't want to stop being a 304, don't marry her. If she still want to go to the club, if she want to keep going to the club, don't marry her. If she wants to do all that kind of stuff, don't marry her. Go to the next chick. And that's what men have to, just because she has a nice, juicy, sweet-ass box, shouldn't make you become some kind of asshole.
Anyway, you know what, Rick? I think what we need to do in order to bring that message home to people is to really explain to people what marriage is like post the wedding day. Because when women think of marriage, they think of the rock, the white dress. They're not thinking of the actual marriage. They think of the wedding. And when men think of marriage, they think of all the things that can go wrong. And she's going to take half my stuff and I'm not going to get to see the kids. And she's going to use the kids as a weapon. And I'm going to be stuck here with nothing. There's so much fear mongering going on.
Yeah, and no one's but that's not between you and your girl or you and your man. If y'all don't talk about that stuff, then y'all don't deserve to get married.
That's not what I thought when I got married. I mean, like she's gonna take half my stuff when I personally got married. That's not what most men think. When we're going into it, like wholeheartedly with a commitment.
With the best intentions,
well, with the best intentions, but I mean, we're not thinking about all the things that can go wrong as of yet. I mean, during the dating phase, that's the weeding process. We're maybe sleeping with you. We're in a long-term commitment with you. Hopefully we've lived with you so that the wedding may be just an event, but the next morning is just the same as before we were actually married. That's what we're thinking.
I just think people need to realize that the culture we're in now is a culture of instant gratification. And what they don't realize is marriage is actually an institution of work. And the best things come to those who work hard. And if you're willing to put your work in, and if you both equally reciprocate and both do your bit, you'll be highly blessed from that. But if you're one of these, and I hate to sound like I'm going against women, but it is women that say things like, well, what's in it for me? If you're going in it thinking, I want him to give me this, you're not thinking of any of the things you need to do or your end of the deal. You should not be messing with this institution. Like, don't get in the mix of it if you're not actually going to put your best foot forward and work. Like you say, marriage fall apart when you're.
I don't think women are coming into marriage not trying to get their best foot forward, though.
I know some who don't, so I disagree.
I think that in the beginning.
I mean, that's anecdotal. That's anecdotal.
I think they don't have an. I just don't think they have an idea of what the actual expectations are.
Yeah,
right. Or they have a false idea of what the expectations are. Like you can't go into a marriage thinking that you're going to actually change a person.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? I mean, just use me. You know, we talk about club stuff. I love going to the club. I love going to the bars and the lounges and whatnot. If my husband, I was doing that when I met him. If he had a problem with that, that's not going to change just because we get married. He can't all of a sudden try and lock me up in the house and not have me be a social person. However, at the same time, there is an expectation of it slowing down. Like you're not going, you know what I'm saying? You're not going you're not going,
not every weekend.
4 times out of the, you're not going every weekend. You're not even going twice a month. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
I believe women get married.
Does he club hop? Does he go to the club himself or no?
Nobody clubs.
He used to go to the strip clubs a lot, but you know.
Okay.
So wait. Is that expectation? Okay. So wait a minute. If you
old man now.
He goes to the strip club and you go to the club. So if you came down in the frequency of the amount of the time that you spend at the club, are you expecting him to decrease his amount of time he goes to the strip club? Is it okay if he just keeps that?
Yeah. Why not?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't expect him to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself.
Are you? So wait a minute. Does that mean are you willing to go with him to the strip club? If he asked you.
I tried it. I mean, I didn't grow up in that culture, so it was it was totally weird to me. You know what I mean? It took some getting used to, most definitely. But I didn't be like, I don't want you to go to the strip club anymore. You know, even though he was going before he met me, type stuff. You know what I mean? It wasn't quite like that.
Can I just say as a 38-year-old man who's close to 40 who's never been married, married people do not make marriage sound good. Like you guys don't never make it sound enticing. Like this is something that I want to do. Oh, I can't wait to get. Like when I hear married people talk about marriage,
what about what I said sounds horrible?
Let me.
What about others that you want them to do unto you sound horrible?
I'm saying it doesn't sound enticing. It doesn't sound like.
Let me read these super chats and then we're gonna respond to Trey because I think he's right actually. All right, my man Chicago Rilla, what's going on? Chief? $20. Appreciate that. The reason why Pookie is the more popular is because we don't control nor do we have meaningful influence over any media except YouTube. We here now, bro. That tells our narrative. We don't control our culture in any shape, form, or fashion. That
I do
is
once
huge
said that
fact.
before.
But you know
Somebody on
what?
this
We take
panel
our
said something
media
like
to
that
talk about
before.
Pookies like we're doing
I
right
don't know
now.
who that
I
was.
don't think that's true, but go ahead.
Well, no, I think
Somebody
you
said that
too.
before.
So, Mr. Rick, we're gonna get into that. In fact, we're gonna respond to that after I'm done reading it. My lady, security boss, $5. Shout out to Trigger Mike, BMU in the panel and chat. That's so Cali Bev. When we say a woman that fights terrorism, a married woman that fights terrorism actively, we're talking about security boss. All right. Just in case, you want to check her out. She got her own show, Security
I've
Boss,
watched her show before. Security
Unsolicited
Boss
Security
is
Boss,
dope.
and Cruise Season. That's what we mean. Fellas, can I
I
get
haven't watched Cruise Season yet, but I've
does she
watched
fight
Security Boss
terrorism?
once or twice. I
Yeah.
like her.
She fights
Not
terrorism.
only does she fight terrorism, but she does it with class and dignity as well, which is and femininity, which is oftentimes a little bit different than what
Just
we're
in
used to
case
seeing.
you're wondering when we say choose a side, that's what we mean.
Also, I know she's
I'm not
recently widowed, but Crimson Cure.
Oh yeah. Mr.
Okay,
Richard is
but
actually
whatchamacallit? No, I'm gonna be myself. I'm not a girly girl type of person anyway.
No, we not even. No, we're gonna get more into the point. Let me read these.
We know you're not girly girl.
Jones says $10. Appreciate that.
Right. I am my father's child.
What does that mean? More
That's right.
feminism.
What does
You
that
just saying shit that is ambiguous. Like we don't know where it's coming from. You know what? I'm gonna deal with you.
No, I'm my father's child. I'm close. I am more like my father than I am like my mother.
So you're
She's
telling
the
us deal
dainty
with
one, and I'm not.
Telling us deal with your behavior, and we can't do nothing about. You know what? I'm not gonna go there with you today.
What?
Pookie Septagon. Damn.
I'm not gonna be up here and be fake.
This topic is for you, Pookie Septagon. $2. What's good, Sparkle? Love the way you talk. Don't tweet, all love it.
I love that accent. Shit.
You guys are so
In fact, one time before I read this next super chat, let's give it up for my man EBD, looking like he about to be a gigolo out here in these streets. Listen, when a dude got on a white jacket, when a dude put on a white jacket, you already know he's
dressed
probably
impressive. It looks good.
It's Friday.
He's trying to look like Mike Lowry.
He going to one of them secret clubs tonight. He going one of the secret clubs where he had to get the password, a special password.
Marriage still means something. Link EBD. Oh, I sent that link. Appreciate that. Embrace the grace. We appreciate you for your super chat. We allowed them to take God out of marriage and everything else, school, work, even church. Preach. Embrace the grace. We absolutely did. All right. Thank y'all. If you just tuning into the Trigger Mike Show, thank you for coming through. We appreciate your support. Keep those super chats coming. We will ask questions, and we appreciate super chats as the chat's answer to those questions. Also, you can purchase a super sticker if you don't want to say anything, and a super thanks after the live broadcast. We appreciate your support for coming through. I actually want to respond to Chicago Rilla's super chat. This was dope. Again, he said the reason why Pookie is more popular because we don't control nor do we have meaningful influence over any media that tells our narrative. We don't control our culture in any way, shape, or form. All right, what do y'all think about that? Do we have a media presence? Mr. Rich, I think you were going to combat that. What do you got to say on that?
Well, I combat it. Well, first of all, we had to grow the presence. We don't have the commercial airways, but right now we're still allowed. We're allowed until somebody takes it away to combat that narrative right here on YouTube. We're doing it every day. Every single day. Now, the cultural reference is that too many of our Black artists are going for the bag, and they're allowing the narrative from the people who own those companies to dictate what they say. And some of them are willing to do it. A lot more, too many of them are. Right? If they want to be successful, they're going to say and do everything that their managers and so they can get pennies. Now, listen. I don't follow rap that closely. There's a rapper. I don't know how. NBA YoungBoy, right? I don't listen to any of his music. I don't know about it. But what he did was go right to YouTube, and he's making millions a month. He was making millions a month, but he didn't go through the small hats to get published. He didn't go through all the people who were dictating his narrative. He just went right to YouTube and got all those views and all the things. And I don't even know he knew what he's doing. But he at one point he was making like $1.4 million a month. Yep. Now, he's a Pookie because he got 18,000 baby mamas out there and he's only 22. But
extraordinaire. Pookie extraordinaire. Yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm just trying to say is it's unfortunate because he came out at one point saying, you know, he wants to change some of the lyrics and some of the stuff that he promotes in his music. But he's still doing the dastardly stuff out there. Now, I assume he's paying for all the babies he has. But, you know, that's the bad part. You know, it'd be nice if some of these guys came out and they were more traditional, but that's not what's happening based on what Trey is saying. I agree with that. You know, so that we got to just kind of get back to that. But we have more control than we think we have. We just so used to acquiescing that control to the other man or complaining about how much control we don't have. You know, and so because we always look at the, you know, what do we have to lose if we stand on our own 2 feet? And unfortunately,
let me give you my rebuttal to that. So 2020 did a lot for me. So I what I like to do is I don't like to get in these spaces and act like I've always been this person, act like I've always been a male advocate. I was a simp for a long time. I was indoctrinated that way. All right. I say all the time, HBCUs are liberal, progressive hubs in which we worship women. We go to seminars about women and power. So the male population in colleges is this small compared to the women population that's this big. And in fact, every college at this point, unless it's a male college. So we get indoctrinated to everything about female progressivist narrative. And we just adopt it because we want to sleep with the females. Eventually, we want to marry one of them. You know, all of that type of stuff. It's only as I got older that I started to become more conservative and I became a male advocate for male issues. Now, 2020 was so huge because what it did during my simp time, okay, I just believed everything women said about men. Because even though I am a man, I acknowledge that women experience men. So why would women be lying or exaggerating their experiences with men? And I found out that, yes, women are actually lying. Not only are they lying, they're taking the experiences from the worst groups of men they shouldn't be associating with anyway and purporting a narrative about all men out there.
Hot meat kettle.
So you called me the kettle? What? All right, listen. Women prior to 2020, prior to the 2020 census coming out, women said that all men were trash, that we didn't take care of our kids, that we don't have jobs. They said all of this stuff, and we just believe them. And I would look to my right and look to my left. Huh? Say again?
I was like, when were women saying all that?
When were women saying? Am I lying?
All over social media. There was a movement. There's whole panels on like men are trash. There's TikToks. Like how many? Do you know how many videos? How many? Okay, let me put it to you this way. There is so much media on men are trash that the 18 and 16 and 17-year-olds have adopted the language and the belief.
But how long was the
years?
Hold on. Let me get to my ultimate point. So women were allowed to.
Very true.
Sway. Let me get my point out.
My fault. I did cut you off. I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah, women were allowed to push this narrative without any pushback from men because the engine was say anything about women, you're labeled a misogynist and canceled. So there was no representation of how men think or what men believe against what women were saying. Now you have YouTube. So the uprising of all of this manosphere, all the stuff we call red pill is in the last like 5 years at best. So it is not even that men are trying to drown out the sound of women. It's just that when we come and we speak about our experiences, we negate naturally the bad stuff women were saying. And the reason why they were saying this is not because they actually think it, because feminism says the only way for you to portray yourself as strong and capable is to portray men as weak and inept. That is the goal of feminism. That doesn't
make any sense. Is to be strong.
I 1,000% disagree with that. That sounds crazy.
I just think like as a woman, right? to me, to be strong is to be willing to stand away from the crowd and say something different, and to be critically thinking. All these women, because I've heard a lot of that rhetoric as well for years. It's been in the music, it's been in the movies, you name it. I can only assume women who say that. Now, yeah, many of us haven't had our dads around, myself included. But have you not had brothers? Have you not had cousins? Have you not known other guys? Like what? Like, and you can't tell me every man you've ever come across is trash. That's insanity. And I'll be honest, it really pisses me off the way society is trying to vilify men constantly as being predators, not being able to, control themselves around women, not being able to handle themselves, as if men are just these oversexed deviants. It's insane. And it's feminism that's pushing that. And, going back to Chicago Rilla's point, what doesn't help is that the past 20 years or so, if you look at hip hop, basketball, these kind of arenas, many of the men have been married, but they act like Pookies in front of everybody else. Like, they don't showcase their wives, but they're still in the videos with all these chicks. They're still doing all this stuff, acting like they're single bachelor men, but they're actually married. Most of the rappers from the 90s have been married for 20 plus years, but you wouldn't know it because they don't talk about it. So they're also pushing the narrative. They're not advocating for the marriage either. They're not advocating for traditional standards either. And you can't really blame the media for that. They're choosing to push that themselves.
If you were married to a housewife from a basketball wife, would you present any one of them women in the public to anybody?
I can't answer that.
I mean, that's a question.
Yeah,
have you seen these women?
I would, because she's a reality show and she's gonna keep making money. So yeah, it wouldn't.
No.
That's what I signed up for.
Trey, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a regular man. Would you, if you would marry any of them women? I don't question them. It's you. You dig what I'm saying? If any, I wouldn't be caught at a dog fight with any one of them women.
Why is that? Is that because maybe they're not considered tens, or or because you're trying to protect them and keep them away from everything? Why is that?
Low class. Holidays and weekends, no class. It used to be a time when you had a Mickey Howard, Regina Bell, Stephanie Mill, these type of women being, in entertainment. See, now you got Cardi. I won't even speak that trash. Those who will not be named. That's how trashy black women have become. And you've allowed the ones who don't speak against these type of women, you co-signing them. That's the bottom line.
So going back to Rilla's point, when he was saying like where we don't control our narrative in the media, what we're seeing with like Real Housewives series is like high class women wearing high class clothes, acting like low class women. Yep. Like they act ratchet, they act like trash, they throwing things, they're calling names, they're arguing. They're hostile. They're nothing that any rational human being or man would want to either date, court, or marry. Maybe sleep with because of how they look, but that's about as far as you.
I got a question. I got a question. Was Pam Grier considered a sex symbol or no?
Yeah.
I was more.
I was more having an orgasm on a in the 70s. So
What'd you say, Trey?
I was asking about Pam Grier. To me,
Oh yeah, back in the 70s, yeah. Back in the 70s, she was it.
No, back in the 70s, I would say more Diane Carroll.
Trey,
that was more.
Trey, you ain't seen Pam.
That was more of the standard.
But Pam Grier was in a series of movies back then.
Hey,
yeah,
Trey,
she was. But you didn't see. Hey, did you see the
Pam Grier walk through that airport?
Say that one more time.
Did you see Pam Grier walk through that airport? All right, then. That's enough said. Then.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I just think that there's always been sex symbols. There's always been a group of women who have portrayed a certain. Listen, if you listen to the lyrics that come out of Janet Jackson's mouth, they don't match with what you see.
Oh yeah,
Even
that's
Donna
She's one of the
Donna
nasty. She's one of
Summers was
the
having a whole
Donna Summer.
orgasm on the
Exactly.
song.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
that's popular
there's
culture.
always been a
I guess
subsection of
that's
women.
popular
Eartha
music
Kitt.
versus reality TV. I mean, it's two different industries. We
Yeah,
didn't
that's
always
popular
have
culture.
reality TV, quote unquote. And Janet Jackson, as far as entertainment, I mean, her music has evolved over the years. I mean, she was mostly pop, and then she got into love songs and
But
heartbreak and things like
always
that.
had
So,
it's always had a sexual topic
yeah,
around all of
Yeah,
her albums.
But
always
the
been a little
sexual, see, but sexual and trash is two different things. Sexual and
exactly,
trash.
exactly.
We're talking about black women peeing and masturbating in Ubers,
Oh God.
right? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, what are you
What are
saying?
you watching? I want to know what you
I don't
watching.
watch.
Yeah.
He's
I
not.
watch. It's on
He's
the.
not
No, it's
wrong.
on the media.
That is what we
It's
see
on the
in
media. I don't.
videos.
So
Nah, that's on the media.
I want y'all to notice something about
He's not wrong.
modern times. This is what I really meant on the Rilla point.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think I hit the mute button. All right. On the Rilla point, what you notice, what I'm really talking about is once we get out here and control our own narrative, you realize it's a way different story. Mr. Rich basically said he's like, hey, you know what's funny about this whole black men ain't shit thing? I have thousands of Facebook friends. And for some reason, in all of my friends, I can't find a single man that don't take care of his kids. So what it really was is that black female media without black male opinion inserted in it, they get to say whatever they want because what they're actually doing is telling on themselves. That really speaks to what we're talking about today. The power of Pookie is presented out in society by the choices women make. The men that ain't shit and the men that they talking about are what they choose for themselves without the influence of their own father. That's what they want. They want that man to put on a statue, but they want to insert my principles and the way I behave inside of him. That's what happens when black male media don't happen. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think when men finally came out and started speaking, we started having our own channels, have you not noticed that there are way more men that have the results that they preach about than women? Have you not noticed that there are more married men that, all these men that we talking about that they said won't shit? Go back and look. All these women that they've been listening to, they ain't married. How you let an unmarried woman give you a late? That shit is weird to me. There are married women going to single women for marriage advice. I can't believe that shit. I wouldn't even talk about marriage unless I was married.
Trey, you want to go first or go ahead, man? No,
I don't have nothing.
Well, let me say this part too. The reason why they tried to cancel us so hard is because we suffocate them when we're in the room. They don't like being on panels with us because when we show up, they can't lie no more. That's what I mean. That's why they had the license to say what the hell they were saying. Do you see what happens when women get on panels with Anton? The feminism kind of goes down from 10 to 2. I'm not even that big in this space yet, and I just kind of see people thinking before they talk, because if you say some shit, I'm gonna be all over it. It's a lie. It's a lie. You can't really talk when the fathers show up. The bullshit kind of stops when the husbands show up, because we the leaders, right? You can say whatever you want to impressionable minds when the leader is not present. That's why men really got to be back at the forefront of the community. That's why they had the license to say all that bullshit without male media present. That's why they don't like labels, and that's why they want us out of these spaces. That's why they don't cam up and come up to talk shit to us. Who can you say don't cam up? The men cam up when they come up here. The women that want to talk this feminist, but most of them don't cam up, right? So just saying, you got to look at these facts as they present themselves over time, and you'll see what we're talking about, Shway. But go ahead, Mr. Richard.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to say. That's why I like the Lapeef Network a lot. I'm trying to graduate too, to get to some of those panels that they have later on. But I tell you, black men just need to start standing on their standards. Once we see, the problem is that so many generations where we've been acquiescing to female leadership, that it's created a lot of weak black men. And now, because of what's going on now, we're starting to stand on our principles and standards. And that's no slight against women, because they need our leadership. We bring order to female chaos, period. Without it, the world is spinning out of control. So all I'm just trying to say is, I'm no great shakes, and I'm an old dinosaur compared to what Trey keeps calling me. But the truth of the matter is, I haven't changed just because I've been married. I've been in these circles. My story hasn't changed. I don't believe the nature of men or women has changed. Only the tools are different. And you need to know how to navigate the tools. So now that we're starting to have standards, hey, women don't have to, if they want a good man who has standards, they just can't keep coming with the same old bullshit. My last video was about this woman says, listen, hey, you know what? We just don't like with men that much. So all we're going to give you, all we think you deserve is sex. And she thought she was saying something profound, right? So I got a guy with his thumb up saying, God damn it, that's great. You know, if all I can do is get laid because you don't want nothing else from me, you think I'm your Huckleberry? You know, she don't know what the hell she just said, right? I got a little 2-minute clip saying, we need more chicks like you, but I was only joking. She thought she was saying something really profound. You know what? I don't need to give you anything else but some box. And she thinks that's going to impact the man negatively. We're looking at her saying, come on, baby, bring that shit on. You know, so women are just so confused by feminism, all this bullshit, the Vivica Fox, pickle face bitch, and all that other kind of stuff. You know, so listen.
Wait, what did Vivica Fox say?
Oh, that's being clipped.
Boy,
what did she say?
It took a turn. Wow.
What he's talking about? What he's talking about is
hold on, because we have to acknowledge that when a black man feels a certain way about something, it is 2 words and then bitch put in front of that old word bitch, like that is the most disdain I think somebody can have for somebody. If you want to know what someone means, oh man, that old pickle face, slew-footed, like yo, that is like literally.
But wait, I'm not hip. I'm not hip. What did Vivica Fox say? I ain't hip. What she say?
Listen, I don't listen to her. When she came out against Kevin Samuels, when she came out about all her other takes, you could just look. First of all, the chick is bitter and old, right? She passed the wall, and no matter what she says, you know, she's on this thing. I forgot what the name of the damn
Cocktail
show
Queens or something like that.
It's Cocktail Queens, whatever. You know, Lisa Ray is one of them. She's still in shape, and she already has a kid, regardless. But Vivica Fox wasted all of her years just being some kind of tough chick. And she's bitter as hell about it. I don't give a shit what nobody says.
I mean,
and then she was on that. Let me just say this. And then she was on this panel with a whole bunch of hyenas destroying a 21-year-old man with a ratchet mother. This guy is crying. It was the most difficult thing I've ever seen on video. She was. They had a panel of women just browbeating this guy. He's crying. His mother was ratchet as hell and everything. I never saw something that impacted me. I said, how could she do that to this guy? And ever since then, she could take, you know, ID4 and shove it up her ass. You know.
It's gotta be clear. Oh, slew.
Rich,
oh my God.
Like that.
I call her Jigsaw.
Can I say something?
Jigsaw.
Wow.
Wow. We're gonna get Mr. Last African while his internet work, you know, he got that balance. He got that
now,
AOL.
see, if I had said I like Vivica Fox, not knowing that, y'all would have called me a feminist. See how y'all do?
Yes.
No,
but I wouldn't even been aware of the situation.
I won't deny.
But see, if I hadn't even asked, and I would like, I like Vivica Fox, you know what I'm saying? And y'all know all of this other stuff, y'all would have labeled me. That's why I say y'all discernment is kind of, y'all need some tune-ups or something.
Well, Callie, I'm gonna help you out, Callie. I'm gonna help you out.
Find that video.
I'm gonna look for it now for sure.
Don't like Lisa Ray or Claudia Jordan either, okay? Because they all run together. So if you say you like them, They're gonna do the same thing they was gonna do to you.
What do all of those women have in common?
They're just a bunch of older black
What
women
do all
talking
of
shit.
those women have in
shit.
common? Does anybody know?
They're all above a certain age. Mostly are married. Most of them have no children.
Entertainment industry. I think 3 of them are actors, actresses.
They just need an outlet. They need an outlet to blame. Of course, I mean, naturally, I don't even flinch at the fact that people blame men for all this shit because, like I said, when I ask women that know, I've asked the question many a time. Hey, is this actually men's fault? And what can we do? How do you think we have defaulted? Do you know why there are no male reality shows? Do you know why? Because men actually fix problems.
Because there wouldn't be the drama.
If there was a real show called Husbands of Hollywood, we would have drama, fix it, be like, my bad, dog. You trying to go get a burger? It'd be the boringest show in history. The most boring. They want drama.
Wait, hold up. There's literally a movie in the movie theater right now called Cocaine Bear. Are we like going to be serious about like the type of like judging the type of media that we get from men and women? Like men and women both put out stupid media.
But what type of men? So
what's wrong with cocaine?
Cocaine Bear might be good.
No, what type of women? Because y'all want to be real specific about the type of men, but y'all never want to talk about the type of women. Y'all just want to say black women and do it in general type shit. So what type of men?
A lot of money-making, educated black women behave like hyenas.
Right.
A lot of educated black men.
All right. Wait,
right.
What?
Okay.
Right. First of all,
they didn't
say that. That I mean it's true.
Pack mentality.
I wanted to go back to a point that I don't know. I think the brother Payne made or something like that. He was talking about. I guess it was a lot of stuff being said, but he was basically going into like what is the problem today, and I feel like one of the biggest problems today is that men, a lot of dudes, have a very archaic way of viewing women from back in the time when they didn't even have the ability to get credit cards by themselves.
No,
to be judging women, to be judging. Let me finish. To be judging women,
trade 2.0
to be judging women off of a time when they couldn't even go to banks by themselves, barely had any real rights, to judge them off of their conduct then and to say like they should be acting like that now. I just think it's just you're in for a recipe for disaster.
So,
I think
you watch too much. You have a lot of feminine talking points that have been debunked 1,000 times. Here's why.
Wait, hold on.
I'll let you finish. The reason why is because let me give two point to debunk your stat. Women will say men don't like education. They don't like educated women. That's false. The most sought after woman on these dating apps and everything is like the female corporate type, the female CEO. We actually have respect for women that accomplish things. We want our children. We want that smart stuff to rub off on our children. It's the most logical course of action. Everywhere we can get to in life, we can get there faster with her. So it's a stupid thing to say men don't want educated women. Hell no. My wife is a high 6-figure earner, educated woman, and I sought her ass out. That is a freaking lie. The one thing we don't like, oh, he left because he's getting yelled at.
No, it's okay.
The one thing we don't like is the way they behave once they have that education. That's it. We need to put this to bed, period. Keep the same energy, keep the same level of submission, all of that. Because the funny thing about it is, no matter what a man has, no matter how he advances in life, it is frowned upon for him to control a woman with money or demand a bunch of outlandish things simply because he advanced. So why the hell don't we have the same expectations of women? That is all we're saying. This dude literally was watching Toxicity. He went to one of these channels or some shit and came over here trying to regurgitate those talking points.
Man, you hear the same talking points over here too, Trigger Mike. Don't front.
How you know?
I want to know how I get lumped into generational. When I said that all women are hoes yesterday, and yet I keep getting lumped into this.
They dogged you yesterday for that.
Yeah,
I was with you, Trey.
I mean, I don't understand how I keep getting this title, King Spark, when I'm the harshest person on women.
Wait. I want to say something.
That's true. You true.
Man, what y'all old heads arguing about up here, man?
Hey, Granville.
Oh man.
Let us get
What the question? What the question? What the question?
Let Ali finish because you kind of mischaracterized him and said that he was yelling at, so he dropped. So go ahead and let him finish.
Nah, well, somebody called me. My fault about that. But
no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, what I wanted to get to is, first of all, like, I feel like we're also spoiling the pot or poisoning the pot or whatever by just calling everything feminism. Like, most of the people don't know much about feminism, especially if you're talking about like black feminism. Most people don't know much about feminism anyway. Anything that's just remotely talking about women, they just straight up call it feminism. But what I wanted to talk about, but what I wanted to speak to was, you brought up a point about saying that men care about education, and saying that because your woman is a six-figure earner and is educated. I think that's awesome. That is not how the men in your space talk. They don't talk like that. They say, we don't give a shit about a woman's education.
No,
we don't care nothing about what a woman does. Which is
hold on. Who said that? Look, yo. Who said that? What panel? What panel you heard from this from? Who said that?
No. So I'm gonna give you. Let me because someone said this the other day, and we gotta put this to bed. What we're saying is, so I've heard exactly what you're saying. It's not the context in which they mean it. All right, we're not saying
women to brag about it. That's
exactly. It means like the way women look at a man because of his education and how it props him up and it makes him more of a choice and all of that type of shit. We appreciate education, but we will date the chick that works at Starbucks if she acts right.
Yeah, but that is Ali's right though, Mike. Ali's right, Trigger Mike. Those inflections are lost upon the way men say
it. In fact, it was you, Mr. Rich, that said it. It is not us saying we don't care. That is the dramatic way of saying it. What we mean is you cannot change energy. You cannot change your level of submission and all of that by saying I have a master's degree, therefore I'm not washing dishes, and I'm not. That's what men mean when we say we don't care. We are not allowed.
That's what we should mean, but women, they don't hear that. They just hear
right.
Yeah,
we hear what you say. We hear what you say. We don't hear what you mean.
Well, let me double down
on
it there. I think we don't care.
To be used as a weapon against the man. So if a woman has a degree or whatever, if she just sits on that call and does her thing, likely he's going to be like, you know what? My wife went to this uni, she did it. He's going to brag about it for her. But if she uses it as a weapon to say, oh, I've got a PhD, I'm better than you. No man wants to hear that.
No. It's not just that. It's not just that. They'll use it. What happens with the degree in a relationship with an educated woman is that she tends to bring up her education as if it is to end a conversation or to make her more correct about an argument that she's trying to make. I have a degree, therefore you need to listen to what I have to say. I don't have to respect what you have to say because the degree earner is me and not you.
I feel like that.
Okay, but look,
point is being
in every argument during a relationship.
But look, a woman who's going to do that is going to use anything. It doesn't matter. A woman who's going to do that to kind of what I'm saying is a woman who is going to do that to use any. She's a woman who's going to combat you like that is going to use anything. It doesn't matter if it's a degree, if it's a job, or if it's an inheritance or whatever. If a woman is going to do that, it doesn't matter. It does not matter if she's educated or not. A woman who's going to do that is going to use. No, it doesn't.
Black women do that.
I think black women do that. That's the point.
That's not just. Hold on. Y'all, everybody talking. Hold on.
It's not just black women. It's women. It's women in the West.
She's going to pick up whatever weapon she has.
What we talk about? Black women. Hey, black women, listen to
okay. First of all, it's not a black woman.
Listen to
all people bring up whenever they're getting into arguments when they're talking about something. If
actually having not grown people. Hang on. Not grown people. Grown people don't do that.
If they're having a conversation that is academic, because the only reason why you would bring up your college degree is in an academic, possibly conversation or something that could tie back to a practice that you had. anyone does that. Someone would say, hey, I know this. I went to Cornell because I did such and such. It's not a woman thing.
Okay.
It gets
Nah,
brought
I
up.
never brought up my education in an argument or a debate.
It gets brought up as a woman thing because from what you guys have said, you don't think women have the right to be able to speak in a certain way because you're restricting how you want women to.
The right to speak in a certain way? They speak any kind of way. Where you been the past 50 years?
Any kind of way.
I mean, men do the same thing.
No, Ollie.
Nah.
Yeah, they do. They sit there and they'll bring up their money to use as a weapon to combat an argument. Yes, they do.
One at a time. Sparkle. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, look, I don't get why this is getting lost in translation. It's obvious to me. All the fellas want is for the women to stay in her feminine. She can have all the accomplishments. She can do all of she can have a good career. But the minute she steps out of her feminine and challenges his masculinity, that's where he has a problem. That's where the beef comes from. If she stays in her play,
what is challenging someone?
No.
What do you mean challenge? When the woman look at you and talk to you like you
so if somebody's smart, that means they're challenging their masculinity.
No. When these
women.
Hang on. Last African. What were you saying?
If a woman gets in a man's face,
if you listen to what Callie Bear said,
okay,
she said a woman is going to use anything. Right. So that contradicts what you're saying, Sparkle. She said, what? It don't matter if a woman doing one thing or she's doing something. She's gonna find something. And what most black men have understood and have found in these relationships with black women, they if it ain't one thing, it's another. They stirring up something.
Yeah, Trigger Mike
I'm telling you.
Trigger Mike said I said something, right? Here's what I mean. Let me just put what I mean. Shit gets lost in translation because we ain't sane. A woman who gets a PhD or a master's degree, I don't give a shit if she's a woman, she had to go through the paces to get it. If you tell her that shit don't mean nothing to you, I don't give a shit what you mean that you didn't say. All she hears is that her effort didn't mean fucking nothing. That's not how you're supposed to communicate with somebody. All I'm just trying to say is, if you're married to a woman with a PhD, you could tell her, you know what, I'm proud of what you did. But the way we're moving is our relationship, I can't rely on that. Because as soon as I pop you with a baby or some shit, you're gonna tell me you don't want to work. I had a guy whose wife came to him. She was making 6 figures. She said, I just quit my job. She didn't even confer with the fucking guy. She just said, I quit. He said, man, my wife just quit her job. She just told me that she couldn't take it no more. So all I'm just trying to say is, as a man, if you're gonna have a woman, you can't really rely on her to be reliable to do shit other than just be a woman, right? So it doesn't matter what her education is, but you can't tell her that her accomplishment don't mean shit to you.
So
I don't care how
wait, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Mr. Rich, I was with you and then you confused Mr. Rich, I was with you and you confused the shit out of me.
I don't want to sound like a simp. I'm telling you, can't tell a person their accomplishments don't mean shit.
Rich.
That's just great.
Hold on. So I'm with you on that because I agree. That's not the way. I've never said it to come across that way. And I don't think most of the men that say
on these airwaves, that's how it comes across.
I was gonna say most of the men that say it don't mean shit, it intimidates them. Or I'm sorry, some men that are like Pookie, the power of Pookie. If it don't mean shit to them, it's because they're not
just
educated
Pookies, Mike. Don't
belittle
the Pookies.
Wait a minute,
hold on, and the men with money. But then I'm confused too, Mr. Rich, because you said we should tell them it means something, but then they gonna quit their job.
Yeah, you can tell them I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for your accomplishment.
No, what I'm really saying is that
Mike, don't try to sugarcoat this shit, man. You said you could tell a woman, I'm proud of you, but I can't rely on that.
So we got to understand too that there's an overrepresentation in the YouTube space that's what men actually say. That's not what happens in real life. Men celebrate at the workplace, in families. Men celebrate female accomplishments. 70% of the black people alive grew up under a single mother who accomplished and worked. We are the most amenable, we are the most agreeable people in the world to a woman accomplishing things. So there is an overrepresentation of men that say all this type of stuff, and it's a YouTube talking point. So let me put that to bed.
That's where we are, though.
Damn it, Last Africa, you be living life on the stream.
Can I ask a question to the Can I ask a question to the married? Can I ask a question to the married people? Because this is where I get confused. I get confused with this marriage thing. If she has these accomplishments and they're fine, and I agree with you, Trigger Mike. I don't want a woman who doesn't have accomplishments. I'm perfectly okay with you having a degree or master's and whatnot. But if ultimately you're going to end up at home, what the hell's the point? If you're not going to do this, and this is your career. Like where I live in Howard County in Maryland, I see white women all the time that are attorneys and doctors and pediatric nurses and pediatricians, and then when they get pregnant, that's it. They done. They're not working no more. So what was the point? If you were just going to be a wife, what was the point?
But hold on for a second.
Everything you do is not going to
make it make sense. Callie Bab gonna make it.
I think that's Fantasy Island girl that was talking.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island.
The point is, everything that you do is not going to be for a lifetime. It's not going to be until retirement. And that doesn't mean that it's an accomplishment. There are plenty of soldiers that joined the military. They didn't stay until retirement. What they did was still valuable. And we tell them that every day. We tell them, thank you for your service. So I think it's very disingenuous to pretend if you're not going to do something until it's the end of you possibly until you die, then there's no point in you doing it, basically. Like, if you're not going to do this until retirement, you're not going to do this.
Hold on, that's a bad example because you signed a contract.
I was like, that's a bad example.
No, but wait.
Nobody should do better.
All women's accomplishments do.
No, so
all women's accomplishments do is raise the bar for us.
No, hold on.
That's all they do. The women's accomplishments make you got to buy a nicer car, a bigger house.
I'm just asking if for instance, in my previous relationship, she had a degree, right? And after she had our daughter, she wanted to hire an au pair and she wanted to stay home. And I'm looking at her like, you gotta work. You got $80,000 worth of college loans.
Period.
What are you talking about? And so, but my thing is why go through all of that if you just want to be at home anyway?
Well, let me answer that. Can I answer that? I let
Most
the women
go back to work after they have a kid.
This just goes to the nature. This is what I'm trying to say. As men, right? And here's where we fall short, I think. We got to understand the nature of the creatures that we're trying to cleave to. We got to understand that. I mean, she went through all this stuff, but she wasn't, a lot of these women weren't married. They didn't know somebody was going to come marry them. So they get all these degrees in anticipation of having to take care of themselves. And so when we marry them, after they have all this shit, before you make the face, just listen to me. I'll shut up in a minute. A lot of women who accomplish shit is before they get married. It's before they get married, in anticipation of having to take care of themselves. Once they get a man who's willing to take care of all the burdens in life, their fucking mindset changes. And as men, we should be able to understand that. Now, if you're a 50-50 guy, that might hurt you a little bit more. But that's what happens to women. They change their mind all the time. Listen. There's no way in the 30 years that I was working. I'm gonna shut up after this. I always say that. After this, in the 38 years that I was working, there was no freaking way I was gonna come home to my wife and say, you know what, the boss pissed me off. I quit. I couldn't say that. That's not the same thing in reverse.
You know what? It's fine. It's fine. Bring your accomplishments and bring your degrees, but don't bring your debt.
No, but here's the thing. I mean, where I sit, it's different here in the UK, right? Because truth be told, the only women who don't really want to work, either they're super rich and have never had to work, or they've always been on welfare. Majority of women I know, even if they have kids, they know by the time my kids are of school age, I am going back to work.
Yep.
So many of them will go and get degrees or trades or whatever it is they do with the mindset of once my child is at a comfortable age where I can leave them in childcare or whatever the case may be with family, I'm going back to work. So it's a very unique kind of woman who just sits there and thinks, well, I'll just let him pay for everything. In 2023, I mean, I don't know about in the States. I know all the different states are different financially, but in England, most functioning families, both parents,
are they going back to the 60 hour? Are they going back to the 60-hour a week job? Or are they just going to something to take the edge off?
Well, Rich, I'll be honest. Here, the average work week is about 40 hours, roughly, right? Okay. So you have some people who work way beyond that, obviously, but for the most part, most people work 45 hours a week. Right. So she would likely work maybe a couple of hours after the school day ends, and there'll be 2 or 3 hours of childcare that's taking place there. So most women here are fully aware of, I have to bring home some money, because for both of us to be able to finance a car, pay the mortgage, we both have to bring in a wage. It's only a very significant woman who can't be bothered to do that. So there are a lot of women that go and get these degrees because they know, even if they have their family and take a couple years out to have babies, they're still going to have to go back to work.
A degree just gives you flexibility to have the kind of job you want.
Exactly.
In the future,
a lot of them ain't working in the degree that they have. Like my wife, for example, I gave her the ability to quit her job. She was making a lot of money at the time, but now she works for the church. That's a labor of love. She just got enough money she's making to get Social Security, and so she don't have to ask me for shit, right? In terms of pocket money and that kind of stuff. She does all that, but everything else I pay for. I mean, everything. I've been doing it for years.
Most decades.
I don't say that to brag, but I thought that's the way it was, because that's what my father did.
Yeah. I think
Hang on for a second.
That's our point, Mr. Rich. That's our point, Mr. Rich. Is why, if you paying for everything, how does it end up mattering to you? These women get these degrees. Listen. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
These women get these degrees, right? And most of the time, when you look at it, all it does is run the price up for the man. That just means that now she got these degrees, education, she made this level of pay. So now this is her lifestyle, right? So that means you got to come even harder, right?
Let me answer this, Sparkle. But
surely
my
that's
wife had
surely
the
that's
degree.
a YouTube.
Wait a minute, Sparkle, hold on for a second.
It's real.
My wife had the degree before I married her, right? She was a college grad and all that kind of stuff, and she had all that stuff before I married her. Once we got married, she didn't go back to school, none of that stuff.
Did your lifestyle go down, or did your lifestyle was your lifestyle ever remain the same?
No, my lifestyle. Let me answer. My lifestyle. I'm gonna shut up after this. My lifestyle didn't go down because our lifestyle was based on my income.
Okay.
It wasn't based on anything she had. It was
based on was it more than hers? Was it more than hers?
The degree destroyed my marriage.
So then her degree meant nothing.
The degree destroyed your marriage, is what you said? Wait, how so?
If you would listen, everyone
speak to that in this. Speak to that.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to that. So I was on the verge of becoming a professional athlete at what I was doing, and I was doing 80, 90 hours a week to do what I was doing. My wife was an auditor. My ex-wife was an auditor, making lots of money, shitloads of money. But she looked down on what I did and said what I was doing was out there having fun. She shitted on what I did. So basically, she used that, she weaponized that as she actually quit what she was doing because she envied what I was doing so much, not realizing how much work I was doing to try to pursue what I was doing to become what I was about to become. So I never reached my potential. And I sacrificed everything that I was about to become a stay-at-home dad because she said what I was doing was shit and it didn't compare to what she was doing. And instead of being a man and saying like, F this, I'm sticking to my purpose. I didn't. I stayed in with my daughter. I have a beautiful bond with my daughter now because I'm thankful for that. But that degree for the right to certain women, they shouldn't have it because they don't know how to utilize it and they use it as total power. I'm done.
You know what?
agree with you. And I understand what you're saying. Sorry.
It's sad to hear that. But I mean, one thing I will say, every woman that I know who's gone to university, I didn't because of the career I'm in. It was no point in getting into £50,000 worth of debt. But most of the women I know who went to university ended up indoctrinated with feminism through university. So I don't know if that's also something to do with it.
Could be
just a school of thought, because I tend to find that a lot of women who've been to university, they get pushed all these feminist narratives, and so when they come into a relationship with a man, they have this guard up, like, I have to do everything. I can't let a man guide me or work with me. I can't build with a man. I have to do it me. And then you get combative, and then these kind of things happen.
Black women do that.
I'm sorry. I missed the feminism indoctrination. I'm trying to figure out how this is happening.
There's plenty of white women in corporate America. There's plenty of white women in corporate America that come home.
White women in England.
I'm just saying around the world, right? Only black women have that problem.
Right.
Right.
No.
That's all.
Sorry.
We're trying to make it just a black people problem when it's an
it is a black people problem.
No. So we got to be real about it. So there's a reason why
it's a black people problem.
It's twice as bad for black women, but white women are right behind it. Okay, so that's
wait. Just as a guy,
only less than half of white women are married, and it's because of this same feminist progressive bullshit. They actually lead it in the political sphere, right? Black women, like I said, if the white people have a cold, black people have the fucking flu. So it's just overrepresented in the black. God, look, stop trying to talk. You know what? This is hilarious.
Huh? He's been trying to. No, he's saying, "Can you hear me?" He's been trying to say something. He's been talking the whole time.
We can hear you.
He said, "No, you can hear me."
We can.
I can read his lips. I can read his lips.
We got to get to the question before we
go ahead.
Let me get to somebody who hasn't spoken. Fantasy Island girl. Will men like Russell Wilson ever become popular? A black men? Oh shit! No, that's wrong. That's not. No, we don't do that on the show. My bad. That was a gay question.
I don't think that's ignorant because black men love to tarnish this man's name. So I think that was a great one.
No. It's just black men. Will men like Russell Wilson ever become the popular choice for black women? Yeah, that's what I meant.
According to social media, everybody says they pray for Russell Wilson like Sierra. So you're saying they're lying, but there's no way for you to prove it. So we can do the whole argument of everyone's lying, or you can take what we have. People saying the popular opinion is Russell Wilson is innocent. Why are you being so emotional about
this? Let her talk.
Be quiet so I can speak.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you. So the popular opinion is Russell Wilson is in and Future is out. That's the popular opinion. Even if people say they don't believe these women when they say that, the popular opinion that we are pushing as black women on social media is we all want a Russell Wilson. We all want to sing. We all want to do the Sierra prayer. So it's not like he's ever been unpopular to black women. In my opinion, he is unpopular to black men. They call him a simp. They call him a loser because he's taking care of her baby, taking care of Future's baby. They say he's not worth anything and nobody respects him because of his choice to be a stepfather and let Sierra run around and continue her career in music, promoting Saudi music. These are the things they say about this man. They have no respect for him. And these are black men, not black women.
That's a good argument. So the one thing I will say that you spoke absolute facts on is the fact that black men give Russell Wilson a hard time. But it is Pookie niggas that give him a hard time. So this is the power of Pookie downplaying the upstanding men. They also got a problem with the way he dresses before, he became all cosmopolitan, like, right? The slick back hair, the way he talks properly. That's actually a problem. So black boys growing up in America, I think I had this problem for a little bit before I became cool, right? Black boys are the only people that get picked on for being smart. You literally dumb yourself down just to be at the bus stop. So that's where that comes from. It's something that's lifelong. right?
No, you get picked on for being lame, not for being smart.
Exactly.
No, for being smart. No, for
You're
being
not a black
smart.
boy. You cannot participate in this. You get picked on for speaking properly. You get picked on for reading books. It is the anti-intellectual narrative of black men, of the Pookies, to pick on the men that are smart. That's why black boys dumb themselves down. This is the black male experience. The shit that you say as a woman that I'll be like, well, she's a woman. I can't really say. Why do you think you know better than the men that experience this?
She wrong.
Because we're there. Guys are doing these things. When they're roasting guys, we're there. We're not
intellectualism.
Y'all act like we live in a different country or something.
Exactly.
We live in the same country. We right here.
Trigger Mike, I was in the car one time.
I got made fun of for talking proper when I was in school. So I mean, what that mean? I wasn't made fun of. I wasn't made fun of because I was smart.
Hang on. Do we not? Have we not seen family? Have we not seen Family Matters? Have we not seen
this the same way men experience it? That is
okay. You can tell us our experiences aren't the same, but we're telling you we've experienced people saying the same things to us as you. So you can say it's not the same, but we can disagree.
You should agree with us. You should agree with us then.
I agree with the treatment. I'm saying the prescription is incorrect. It's not because you were smart. It's because y'all were lame.
Exactly.
All I can
Can we define what lane is? You don't have to expand on that. Callie Beb said it. Let her define it. Let her define it. Let Callie Beb define it.
I was lame. I was one of them. So she's talking about.
How do you define it?
Go ahead.
Fuck Russell.
What's wrong with my mic? Okay.
That's what I got.
No, a lame person is a square.
That's me.
You are socially awkward.
That's me.
Okay?
That's not nobody.
You don't know how to. You don't know how to talk to girls.
That's me.
You do not know how to dress. You have got your pants all hyped up and all that kind of stuff like that.
Okay.
Another instance of a lame is that you do not understand or know what you call it. Lack of a better word, popular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been popular since the fifth grade.
You ain't hip. You ain't hip. You know what I'm saying? But you can be smart and not be a lame. Okay?
Yes, that is true.
Right, but if you use
true, and that is the difference between the treatment of girls to boys. I am the
talking about boys to boys. She ain't listening to
boys. Let me tell you, I was in the same neighborhood with these niggas, okay? I was bussed into California Academy of Math and Science. They bussed in kids from all around Los Angeles Unified School District to this one school that was on the back of a college campus, okay? All of us over there were smart, okay? Them same dudes that got bussed in from Compton, Inglewood, Watts, LA proper, and all that kind of shit. Them niggas were not lame. They were smart though, and they did not get bad treatment from the people from the niggas in their neighborhood.
You just proved our point. This is not public school. You went to a smart school for smart kids where people appreciate.
Sorry. Excuse me, Trigger Mike. It's a public school, sir.
No, but it's a charter school, was it not?
No, it wasn't a charter school.
You just explained the charter school. What is it called in California?
Shit, I don't remember what they called it, but it wasn't a charter school. I do know that because charter school is relatively new. However,
they call it No Child Left Behind.
For kids of higher aptitude. You said they bust them in from all over. It's not a public school. Public schools are in your own district.
Right.
That's No Child Left Behind.
But what I'm saying, but listen to what I said though. Them same dudes that went back to their own neighborhoods, okay, because you still live in your home school neighborhood and you still interact with them same kids that's supposed to go to your home school. Them dudes were not ostracized by the niggas in the neighborhood.
It's a difference between smart and articulate. And what we're saying is if you're articulate in the right spaces, they're gonna talk shit about your articulate ass. It don't matter if you're lame and articulate.
They'll talk shit, but you're not being shunned.
Here's the thing.
You're not being shunned.
I'm not saying I'm being shunned.
And we're all getting the same thing because women get that also.
Marco, go ahead.
If we're going to be honest, because I've seen this, right, especially here in England, And whenever you are a young black man or woman, and you're articulate and you're mannered and you present well, the first thing they say is you're trying to be white. It's not about if you're lame or smart. They think you're trying to assimilate to be white.
Facts.
Because
Facts.
apparently you can't be smart and classy and educated
And black
unless you want to be unless you want to move like an Oreo. That's how they say it here anyway. And I'm sure it's the same over there. I don't think this is about lame or if it happens. This is about if you're black and you come correct, they think you want to be white.
Yo, can I say this?
Okay, yeah, that's the same thing over here.
Can I say this real quick? Salute to
Go
the
ahead,
Salute to
Israel.
What up, is?
Hey, yo, look.
Go ahead.
Real quick to answer that. I was about to say the exact same thing, Sparkle. Yeah, in America, they call you an Oreo too if you're smart, and they say you're trying to act white, and they say you're an Oreo. My daughter faced it. You know what I'm saying? I faced it, and other people that I know have faced it when they come from a good family, when they come from a good home, when they are articulate, when they are smart, and when they're trying to achieve. Black people actually tease them. They call them an Oreo. They say they're trying to be white, and they aggress against them. They try to fight them and try to put them down. That's an actual fact. Now, also on this Russell Wilson thing, the reason why black men have a problem with Russell Wilson is because the way Sierra has disrespected him at times and made him look like a chump. That's the reason why black men have a problem with Russell Wilson, because
the numbers he put up last year.
If he don't feel disrespected, why do you feel disrespected?
Sierra has made him look horrible.
Listen, any man who's not smart enough to turn around and hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch tells me that he's not a good decision maker.
That's right.
And then he further proved that
right.
by the woman that he married and who she had a baby with before that.
Multiple babies
this man does not make good decisions, period. That's why I don't fuck with Russell Wilson, and he cost me a shit ton of money. I hope I never see that dude.
Well, it's not only that, Cali Bev. It's not that we don't like him. You say that black men don't like him. What you're actually listening to is black men holding another black man accountable, saying that you shouldn't be doing that shit. Yeah. That's what you're hearing. That's what you're mishearing.
No, we're not gonna hold somebody else accountable for who they married and are happy with.
I don't think you understand accountability very well. You go on your feelings of like and dislike. It's about right and wrong.
No, it's right and wrong for him. That has nothing to do with
for
you.
Any man. He's a man. He's half of a gender.
So all y'all the same?
All men.
All y'all the same? All men are the same?
We're all men.
All men the same.
They ain't got to be the same. We're all men.
Okay, then what are you talking about? Because if all men ain't the same, then what you talking about? You want to hold Russell Wilson accountable to your standards and not how and not his own.
A standard. It don't gotta be mine.
Your standards, because y'all the only ones that got a problem with his situation. He don't seem to have a problem with it.
Cali Bev, his quarterback rating was terrible.
No, but
hang on. All right.
Horrible.
I know.
He didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch at the 1 yard line to win the Super Bowl. This man doesn't make good decisions.
Hang on, Sparkle. One at a time.
Everybody.
Okay. Sparkle, Trey, and then King.
Okay.
Disagreements aren't fair.
I know. I got you.
Right. Here's what it is. Russell Wilson, on paper, ticks every box for what a upstanding black man is supposed to look like, right? But
as far
as hear me out. I'm talking society's levels. Wealthy, good career, family man. That's what I'm talking about. But his wife goes around showing all her assets to everyone. She's twerking all the time. She's making songs talking about independent. She's doing everything that a single woman would portray.
And his ex and Future made a song that said, "I still F on CC," just to add to his song.
Hang on. So people are openly and honestly looking at him like, what kind of simp is this man that he can't get his wife in check? That's why they have an issue. Because as far as they're concerned, he should have all the credentials. He is more of the prize on paper than she is. So he should be able to get her under his submission, but she's running around rogue. And so people are looking at him like, you're some kind of weak simp. That's why black men have an issue with him. It's got nothing to do with if he's a nice person or any of that. It's because his wife is chaotic.
Okay,
Right.
so
Right.
if he's cool with
Yo,
it,
excellent
if
points.
he's cool with it, then
Spark.
black
You get
men
it.
should mind their own damn business and mind their
Sparkle
own
gets it.
wives and
He's
girlfriends.
paraded his chick around on the social media.
If he don't have a problem with it, then y'all shouldn't have a problem with it. Worry about your own.
Callie, I would agree with you. I would hang on. I would agree. I would agree with you.
One mic. Trey's next, y'all. Trey's next. One mic.
Trey's next.
Callie, I would agree with you. I would agree with you, Callie, if it were not for the amount of influence that Sierra has. If this was two random people out in the world, I would say, yeah, y'all need to mind your business. Whatever happens in their marriage happens in their marriage. But people look up women, young women even young girls from the ages of 10 to 18, they are watching Sierra and they are listening to her. And they are saying, oh, I can go find me a man just like Russell Wilson. I can go get me a man like Russell Wilson, and I can just say and do whatever I want to do. If she didn't have the amount of influence, I would agree with you. But unfortunately,
She really doesn't. She doesn't have the same amount of influence since the early 2000s.
Hold on, let him finish. That's not true. Let him finish.
Go ahead, finish, Trey. Go ahead.
Callie, she clearly has influence because she's a star. She's on red carpets. She's in music videos. She's doing interviews. She's at games. She has influence. Women are saying the same damn prayer that she was saying. She has influence. And unfortunately,
not like how you talking, no.
That's what changes things, Callie. That's the only thing that changes it. Because now we are starting to look at Russell going, what the hell going on in your house, bro? That's all I'm saying. And like I said
not
before,
to mention
who the hell doesn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch at the 1 yard line?
All right.
Not to mention. I just want to point out
about the wrong damn
I just
thing.
want to point out. We worried about the right thing, Callie. This man threw 11 interceptions to 16 touchdowns. That is
the
trash.
worst in his career, yeah.
He's garbage.
That is trash.
It's all because of Sierra. It's all Sierra's fault.
Because
that man was
Wait. Fantasy Island trying to get in here. Go ahead.
No, that's because Future made that song. I still F on CC.
Let us speak.
If that's all y'all cared about, then y'all wouldn't be talking about Sierra twerking. But okay.
It's because she made that song. She still because Future said he still F on CC.
I enjoy watching.
Y'all been talking about Sierra before she even made that song and was twerking on the daggone internet. So don't give me that. Y'all was talking about shit about Sierra as soon as she married that nigga.
Every minute of it.
Do you have the link? Do you have the link, Callie?
Mr. Rich, go ahead.
Sierra
I'm just saying. I thought we was going to go around the horn
again. We are.
Listen, all I'm trying to say, listen. First of all, this is just all bullshit. Both Sierra and Russell Wilson are not the typical people. Sierra was a baby mama, but she was a fucking millionaire, man. She could have raised that kid by herself without anybody. Without anybody. Who gives a shit that she had it by some asshole who was a rapper? She wasn't some chick off of 7-Eleven. She was, she wasn't the most famous chick, but she wasn't going to be on EBT or some bullshit like that. And then Russell Wilson, he ain't the typical stepdad. You think it really, really, really impacted his life to take on a chick with a baby?
Hell yes, it did.
No.
It affected his career, Mr. Rich. Yes.
Let me finish saying what I'm saying. He did it. Okay, listen. I know Russell. I agree with most men that this guy's a cornball and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that he took on Sierra is not the same thing as taking on some hood rat from the streets. No, it's not.
It is worse.
No, listen. Well, you can have your opinion. Let me finish saying what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
So I hear where you're coming from. She was not just a typical hood rat. This was a multimillionaire woman that he picked up who had a baby. It didn't mean shit to him. As soon as he could, he put 3 fucking babies in her, 2 or 3, right? So
he's stupid. Now
she's gonna leave him once the 10-year mark hits. I know that, so she could take half his shit. But so he's a cornball. But I don't really hold it against him that he married this chick. She's not the typical She's not the typical woman, and he's not the typical guy. And
Can I respond to that? Can I
Why you
respond to
acting
that?
like money can raise a man?
Hold on,
That
hold on.
money
Real quick.
can't.
Let him
Money
finish. One
can't
mic.
make
Let
you
him
no
finish.
man.
Let him finish, King Spark,
If
and then let
money
me
can't make you
respond.
no man, then go
Let
talk
him
to Miss
finish,
Cannon
y'all.
and
One
stop
mic. One
praising
mic. Let
him.
him finish and let me respond. Let him finish.
Every man and woman
I don't know, nigga.
will try to equate their situation to Sierra and Russell Wilson on just out of their goddamn minds. These are not typical people.
But okay, can I respond to that? So it's not that.
Money
It's
doesn't
not
matter.
that. Wait, hold on, real quick, King Spark. It's not that we are trying to compare ourselves to them, but this is the thing. So Russell Wilson was an idiot, right? Because of a few different things, right?
Okay.
First of all, he put her on the pedestal and he was the prize. Not just on paper. He should have realized that he was the prize and he put her on the pedestal. You know what I'm saying? That's number one. You just said it yourself, Mr. Rich. In the 10 years, we all could bet good money. In 10 years, this is going to be no more and she's going to take him to the cleaners. We could all see that coming a mile away, right? The third point is that, this man, you could tell a man, as woman, by how his life becomes. His life has become significantly worse as a result of him dealing with this woman, and that's the point that they're making about his QB rating and all of that. He has his career has declined, his professionalism has declined, and he has declined as a man as a result of dealing with this woman. So you already know that this is a horror show. You know what I'm saying? A train wreck. And that's just what it is. Now, because they are public, because Sierra had somewhat of notoriety, somewhat of popularity, it makes it significantly worse because he has to live this out on the world stage for everybody to see. The disrespect and the fact, again, that Future made that song that he still F on CC. You can't tell me or pay me to believe that did not affect Russell Wilson in a significant way because he already knows. This is the thing. He already knows Sierra chose Future. The Future was Sierra's ideal. She chose him. Russell Wilson just happened to get with Sierra. It's a huge difference, buddy. And he knows that in the back of his mind, he knows that she's still thinking about that nigga Future. I rest my case.
So you think
You can rest the case, but go ahead and blame Future for making that song and not blame Russell Wilson or Sierra for making the Future song. Future is responsible for his own songs.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
PhD. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I think it seems to me that a lot of men are upset because Russell didn't choose them, right? So the energy y'all be giving off is y'all feel like y'all could be a better wife for Russell than Sierra can, and that's where y'all issue. Yes, y'all be sounding like groupies. So
I know one thing I could have done.
Hang on.
That is the dumbest shit ever. That's asinine and preposterous at best.
I know one thing I could have done very well. I could have turned around and handed the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. I could have done that. Why didn't you do it? Why weren't you in that position to do it? But you could have done it.
So PhD,
right?
was that your
There's
only? Was that your only point?
There to do it.
That is an
PhD, was that your
asinine
only
and preposterous point.
It was,
No,
but
that
was that your only point?
He's trolling us,
No, that's not
what was your only point? But besides insulting all of us as homosexuals that secretly want Russell Wilson, what else was your point?
No, well, that's
We
what
want to
it
be
sounds
Russell
like,
Wilson's
because
wife.
y'all
That
was
is
upset
asinine.
that he chose the woman that he wants. And the thing is, focus on your own life and choose the woman that you want. Because unless your outcomes are better than his, then you can't judge him. And there's no way you can hold him accountable from a panel or even from the comment section of a Shade Room article, right? This man is living his life. He's doing what he wants to do. You can agree, disagree, but ultimately you're taking your time out of your life to watch or pay attention to what he's doing in his life. And he ain't studying y'all. Right? So
that's incorrect. That's so incorrect. That's so
incorrect.
What
we doing, America?
The idea that black men would be up here and can tell you everything that Sierra has done that's inappropriate or whatever, like you have to be paying attention to that type of thing.
It's
and
on
so
the
y'all
world
hanging on
stage,
everything a woman
Robin.
does.
Robin is on the
It's
world
on the world
stage.
stage, but y'all
It's on
seem
the
to know
world
more
stage.
about gossipy shit than I do.
Hang on,
It's on the world stage, but y'all know more about it than we do.
Hang on.
Hello.
Ennis, what's your point?
Right,
What's your
exactly.
point,
I didn't know anything about whatever you just said about
Hang on,
Sierra or
Diva.
some future
Diva.
song. As if
Diva,
rappers
pump
don't
your
lie
brakes.
in rap songs
This is
every
the- this
day.
is the
He's
reason
not
But
why
that's
lying. He
supposed
ain't
to
gonna
be
lie.
some
you can't
determining
say
Yes, he does lie. He lies about the drugs he does. He does lie. He already said
respect
he's
no
not
order,
doing
no
the drugs
man.
he's still
I know.
advertising. He does lie.
It's all right though.
Island Girl,
And
you
I
just said,
also
wait, Island Girl just said yesterday that 100% of the women cheat in marriage. So what are you defending? You said the Fantasy Island Girl said yesterday that 100% of women cheat in marriage. So what are we really talking about and what are we defending right here?
I
I'll
already
wait.
said yesterday.
Okay.
I already said yesterday that the few that aren't worth us focusing
And
on.
ain't Sierra a
But the
black
point of
woman?
the matter is, this isn't about whether or not she cheated on Russell Wilson, because he's never come out and said that. This isn't about whether or not she's disrespected Russell Wilson, because he's also never said that. This is about you men projecting your emotions in the way you would feel if you were dating a rapper.
No.
You men projecting your
Let her finish. Let her finish.
Let her finish.
Let her finish. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So it's about you men projecting your emotions onto this man and making it seem like he should feel embarrassed of his wife that is an artist, has been an artist in hip hop culture for a very long time, and he wasn't going to come.
Exactly.
He wasn't going to come. He wasn't going to come and change her. He chose her as she was, a hip hop artist, and he decided he wanted to marry her after knowing that she had been. Stop it. After knowing she had been with a rapper that was slimy and says things that are absolutely lies. He also says that he doesn't tell the truth in all of his songs, especially about his drug use that he constantly promotes. So if we're going to pretend that we are going to believe everything that Future says and nothing that Russell says, you guys are choosing to believe in the bad guy and not the good guy.
No, we're looking at actions. We're looking at actions and we're looking at results. It's not hard to listen. It's not hard to see. It's not hard to see the results.
Rich.
Okay. Ennis, what was yours?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
We got women up here telling us about how we need to respond or react to what another black man is doing. The main point and the main reason and the main problem with everything is we have black boys, we have black daughters, and they see this shit. And then you're on here talking about where we are reacting or we shouldn't be saying. Our young boys look up to these men. These they have more power than we do. And if they see a dumb Future doing some dumb shit, when they leave to go to school, they're with their friends and they're doing the dumb shit. They do this. We can't control. We're not with them every minute, no matter how much morals you instill. So this conversation is important. And for you women to minimize what the
minimize.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you know the word. It's bullshit. I'm done. My mic
it's
is
not
muted.
bullshit because we are talking about Russell Wilson.
In this lady,
but we're talking about Russell Wilson, and we can see that his career. Wait, hold on.
Let's she ain't saying shit all day.
Let her rock again. We can obviously see. We can obviously see.
We're not
listen, we can
talking
hold on, fam. We can obviously see that Sierra has had a negative effect on this man and this man's career. That is evident to everybody who's watching. The man was just a Super Bowl champion, and he went from that to shit.
Fall off all
they fall off. They don't fall off that bad, baby girl. I'm trying to tell you, he's still
and the Falcons also lost 28-3. So should we blame Matt Ryan's wife?
No, he's still.
Yes, they always do this.
Listen, he's still young, relatively young in the game. He's still relatively young in the game. People don't fall off that bad.
I got a question for the women. I got a question for the women. I got a question for the women.
Like she was there shooting with him on the field, shooting in the gym. She wasn't doing.
Exactly. That's when you went to Super Bowl.
And she was having a time.
I got a question for the women. I got a question for the women. I got a question for
hard
you.
enough.
No,
Hold
that's
up.
because of
Jay-Z
Sierra.
and Beyonce.
Tom fucked up too. Tom
Jay-Z and
fucked up because of
Beyonce.
Giselle.
Jay-Z and Beyonce and what Jay-Z did. Hang on. What
One
Jay-Z
mic,
and
y'all. One
Beyonce.
mic.
Hang on,
they go
Trey.
to the
One mic.
I
Mr.
got a
Black
question for
Dragon's
the
talking.
women.
One
I
mic,
got a
y'all. One
question
mic.
for the women. Trey, hold up.
Trey. In
I
the
got a
Black Dragon's
question.
talking. 1 second, y'all. One mic.
Hold up.
He's gonna
For
answer
the
the question,
women,
not let
for
me
the
talk
women,
real
for the
life.
women.
Trey, one mic real quick. One mic, y'all.
Trey. For the women. If you think that this is a minimalistic thing and that we're projecting and things like that. So with the Beyonce and Jay-Z thing and the whole elevator scene and all that, where were y'all women like holding Beyonce or the woman in the elevator accountable for their
His
actions in
sister
the
Solange,
elevator?
yeah.
Because all I heard was like, his fault, what he did instead of what she did. So I mean, what is this double standard of when black men hold another black man who's slipping accountable? Y'all want to like throw shade at that, telling us how we should or shouldn't feel and projecting and all that. But when it comes to your Queen Bee or Beyonce, when they're screwing up or stepping up, y'all want to again point the finger at the men and not hold y'all own selves or the women accountable for their mistakes slipping up.
Well, your
What's
opinion
up with
isn't
that?
holding anyone
What's
accountable.
up with
That's
that?
number one. Your
Like, what's up with
opinion
that?
isn't holding somebody accountable.
Exactly.
So there's no way
Actually, it
you
is.
can hold these people
Actually, it is.
accountable. No, it's just
Making
your opinion.
okay,
No,
all right,
they
all right,
don't
all right.
care.
does not
They
hold
do not
anybody
care.
accountable, sir.
And so whether we agree with what
Calling
they do
out
or
bad
not, we
behavior,
can't
calling
hold them
out bad
accountable.
behavior is holding someone to account.
No, it's not.
Not if they
No,
don't
it's
see
not.
it, sir.
No.
That's
If they
how we
don't
do.
see it,
Well,
you're not
most of
holding
y'all need to
anybody
focus on the bad
accountable.
behavior in
My
your own lives.
opinion is how you are able to perceive an opinion that's different from your own.
I
And if you're
suppose y'all
seeing your
hold
and if
rappers
Yes, but
accountable
that's
by
not
not talking to them,
That's
right?
not
that
holding
doesn't
them
equate to
accountable.
you holding somebody
that is
accountable.
accountability.
That's not
I'm not
holding
saying
No,
anybody
it's
I
not.
don't think women are
Accountability,
used
they
to the
don't get
word
that. They don't get
accountability
the
because we
You
escape
can't hold somebody
accountability,
accountable that you
right?
ain't talking to, sir.
But listen,
Exactly.
y'all know what he's
You
damn
hold
saying.
them
Why y'all trying to
accountable that you
talk?
don't
Why
know.
y'all trying to deflect? Y'all know what the
No,
hell he's
because
saying.
he's
Answer what the
deflecting
man
right
is saying.
now.
Y'all
Stop
think
trying
you
to
No,
getting up on
you
deflect.
this
are
panel.
deflecting.
Stop
The
trying to
topic is
deflect.
Russell
Answer what that
Wilson.
man is
The
saying
topic
directly.
is
Y'all know what
Russell
he talking
Wilson. So
about.
don't try to say that we're
Y'all
deflecting.
know what
You
he talking
gentlemen
about.
are
Answer the man
deflecting.
question. Don't try
You
to
gentlemen
deflect.
are deflecting
Wait.
because the topic is not
So
Beyonce.
the
The
reason
topic
they
is
won't
not
answer the
Eminem.
question, the reason the
The
question is
topic
because
is
they
not
know
the
the answer, but they
elevator.
I
cannot
just
say it.
The
answered the
topic is not
question, sir.
You
I
Solange.
said
didn't.
my
There is no
Facebook
answer.
post does
Women
not
isn't holding
hold
anybody
Beyonce
accountable.
or Solange accountable.
Can
My
we go
Facebook
around the
post don't
horn?
do
Right.
that.
Can we go
Exactly.
around the horn?
Callie Bev, that
Can
is
we
a
Let's
go
go
around the
deflection,
around.
ma'am.
horn?
That is not answering
Let's
his
You
go
want me
around
to
the
question.
call
horn then.
Solange?
You
You want me
are
to
not.
call her?
You
You want me
guys
to
Let's
are.
call her and hold her
Y'all talk
accountable?
about
You
Because she
guys are
was
everything else.
wrong for
That's
that.
a
deflecting women.
deflection.
let's try and
That's
No,
a
go
we're gonna
around.
pull a
deflection,
switch
though.
out
Let's
on
try.
the
Let's try.
screen
Let's
and
No,
try
I'm
and go
saying
around
for
one.
real. For
Okay,
real. Y'all want me to
let's try and
call
go around one.
Solange and tell her that she was wrong
Hang
for
on.
that?
Hang
Y'all
on.
want me to call her?
Let's call and
right.
go. Let's try and go around for it. Trey, I know you're trying to say something, so go for it.
Let's go
No,
around the horn.
the
Yes,
only
please.
thing I was going to say is obviously, I mean, we know by now that women have conditions, and the accountability that they hold themselves to and the accountability that they want us to hold black men to, it's conditional. They want us to hold black men to a certain accountability, but then they don't want us to hold other black men, don't want us to hold other black men to a certain, no. We holding Russell Wilson accountable too, bro. Something's going on in your home. This woman's out here making songs about being independent. You getting paid $40 million a year. It doesn't make sense. A lot of it doesn't make sense. So you can't try to play both sides on who we hold accountable. We're gonna hold them accountable. But I'm not surprised that they didn't answer the question, EBD, because it's all conditional.
All right, Mr. Israel, sir.
All
I
right.
feel you, Trigger Mike. I'm about tired of y'all too.
Callie Bev, see? All right, Callie Bev. This is what it is. They deflected because they know what it is. You asked a poignant question that would give balance to the situation. And see, she can't even stop. We're going around robin.
Well, you mean you're repeating yourself.
Callie
You're
Bev, just
repeating
let him
yourself.
finish. Let him finish. Let him
Okay,
finish.
so you know what? I think that y'all should change y'all algorithm because there are plenty of posts like mine that said that Solange was wrong for doing all of that bullshit in the elevator. So maybe you should look at them
Okay, we're
instead
done
of
with that.
focusing on
We're
the
done
other
with
ones
that.
that
We're
did
done
it.
with that
How
right
about
now.
that?
We're done with that right
Israel,
now.
you got a lot
We're done with that.
Days,
Go ahead
That
and
was the
do it,
last
Israel.
question that was
Israel got a
asked.
lot
Callie
prettier.
Bell.
And he's
Callie
talking
Bell.
about that right now. So
Israel
how
got
can
a
we be
lot
done with
prettier.
it?
Let
That's
him
what
We're
finish
not
his
talking.
point.
We're
Let
not
him finish
talking
his
about
point.
that right now because
My mic is muted. Damn. Okay, so y'all done terrorized me for the last time today. I got to get my kid, all right? So we'll see y'all on Monday. Thank y'all for coming through and yelling over each other. All right. So, yeah, tonight on the Lapeef Experience, we got the Chic Critique or a Chic Critique coming. Make sure y'all go over there. Subscribe to the Lapeef Experience channel. That one's a hot one. We always got good topics for you on the Lapeef Experience and especially Chic Critique. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed the show today, The Power of Pookie. I will see y'all on Monday. Go over, please send a super thanks after the live if you like the content we provide on the Trigger Mike Show or anything on the Lapeef Network. Okay, appreciate all of your support today. Let me read these super chats real quick. Sherwin Thomas says, Mr. Payne, have not the understanding of context. He is doing exactly what the women do, which is hear what the F they want to hear. Shake my head. D Natural Hair, $5. Fitz called a magnet school in Cali. That is correct. They are called magnet schools. Russell and Sierra staying together like Jada and Will. Say what these dudes wanted to be Sierra's IMP. All right, y'all. We out. It's Trigger Mike. Go over to Trigger Mike Show on YouTube and subscribe. All right, y'all. I'm out.